I love the show. I love you guys. Fucking, let's go Jets. Jets, Jets, Jets.
Can't all be beautiful.
You're in the danger zone.
And we are live. What is up, Daniel?
DayngerZone. What's going on?
That Archer bit, man. Thanks to you.
Yeah. Well, I love me some Archer. That show was great. It's
Hell
excellent show. Just to clown around and I don't know, drink beers, or if you partake in the green leaf, it's an excellent show to watch while doing so. So hey, we took us a little vacation last week, a little spontaneous like night off, and And it was good. It was
Much
good
needed.
to take a little rest. It's kind of a slow part of the season. We're all just itching for that draft to come, I think. Not a ton of Jets news, but we got some pressers and stuff to go over. I'm sure we're going to get into that later. This is going to be a call-in show, so here once we're done rambling in a little bit, Dane will drop that link, and hopefully we can get some of you guys in here, get your thoughts. You know, share with us your Jets theories. We want to hear. Um, but other than that, we're kicking back, having some beers, and just BSing some ball, guys. So don't forget to like the video on your way in, and I'm excited, man.
Hell yeah, you said it right there at the end. That's what I was gonna say, man. Like the video, subscribe, dude. We are a hair away from 400 subscribers, a number I never thought I would see. Maybe after like 10 years, because we only go once a week, man. People, I don't know. It seems like the more you stream, the more subscribers you pick up. So the fact that we're at 395, just going once a week, man, it's just awesome, man. So appreciate you guys in the chat. Like Daniel said, we want to hear from you guys because honestly, between Mougey and Glenn together in the past week, there was over an hour of airtime those two men talked.
Wow.
We had them at the owners meeting talking to SNY and all the beats individually. Add that up, and then we had them go over and talk to Eric Allen for a long time individually. So yeah, over an hour of talking, man. A lot of stuff that I noticed, and I did take some notes I want to go over. A lot more than just what you maybe saw shared on Twitter, which was Fields is a starter and AVT is a guard. And, we're not looking to extend Sauce or Garrett until after the draft. Dude, they talked for an hour, man. So, like I said, I tried to jot down anything I thought was noteworthy that wasn't those four things I just mentioned. And what was cool is that some of the questions pointed at each of them, like the beat, they have a motive when they're asking the questions. They're writing a story, so that's why they're asking the specific. Well, they asked the same question to each guy. What I liked is each guy often gave a very similar answer. Not so similar that it was like scripted, but like you could just tell that they're in sync. And I thought that was really cool, which opens it up for me to say the first thing I noticed was they were talking about Brandon Stevens and that signing. And really cool because both guys straight up said, man, we like his size, his speed, his measurables. He has everything you would look for a press cover corner. And they both said it in different ways, but like they really grounded home the point that it's less about the player for them and more about the player profile, like what they just want the right piece of clay. They are confident in how they can then coach that clay up to what they need it to be. So I thought that was really cool because, like I said, they mentioned both of the guys said Stevens is big, his size and his length. He can run and cover with speed. And Mougey said that Glenn would get the most out of him. So I thought that was really cool. What do you think? Because I mean, after they both said it, I was like, all right, we're playing man. We're playing a lot of man, and with sauce. Thoughts on that?
Well, first of all, I love the idea of playing a lot of man. I've always been a big fan of man. Zone has its time and place. I'm not saying completely rule it out of your playbook or anything, But I love just having like you get the better guy, you get the goddamn lockdown Sauce Gardner, and you just put him on a guy and lock his ass down all game. And if like you're gonna beat me, then you gotta beat him like that. You know what I mean? I love the thought of that. So I did want to start with that. The other thing I wanted to say is like based on what you're saying, it sounds like they're locked in. Like you said, it wasn't scripted talk, but like they're locked
Right.
in on the same ideals and stuff. And that's something that they both talked about since the beginning, how they communicate and they get in a room together and they're not leaving the room until they're both very clear about the path they want to go and they both agree that it's the best path. Um, so that's something else that I like. I think that your GM and your head coach really have to work well together. It's an underrated thing about the league. There's a dynamic there. Um, as far as the Brandon Stevens stuff, like to me, what that screams that Aaron Glenn, and this is something that you're hearing a lot. And we'll probably talk about this a little more later on, but Aaron Glenn believes in coaching. He's the type of guy that wants to get somebody that has the package, has the right play, and he said, "I'm gonna mold it to make it fit my defense. I'm gonna mold it to make it fit my team." And you're going to be blown away at how well this is going to work because I trust myself to coach these guys to perform at the level that they need to. So to me, that's what they're screaming. They're like, I need a guy that has the length, that has the speed, he has the willingness to tackle, he has the right mentality, and he's coachable. Because oh, buddy, am I going to coach him up? And we saw that last year. We saw that with we had all those injuries on that defense for the Lions last year, and they were still performing at an adequate level, man, more than adequate, really. So I'm hoping that that's what's going to happen with this year with the Jets. Like I'm hoping that he really does know what he's doing. Like he's going to get out there, he's going to coach these guys, and they're going to all perform better than what people look at them as. Like, because if you or I, and I know we've talked about this day before, if you or I look at Brandon Stevens, we're like, right? Like maybe on a good day, you know? Um, Aaron Glenn isn't looking at it like everybody else is. He's looking at the potential of the player because he
In
knows
our
that,
system, right?
yeah, in our system, of course, yeah. And he knows that he can bring him there to the potential. He's confident in that. So that's what that screams to me, you know?
I do.
That's the biggest takeaway to me.
The other thing, my next point of topic was Mougey was asked about Lazard. I wanted to get your thoughts on them saying that they hope that Lazard, his finances work out. Basically, they're considering a potential restructure, but they made a point of saying that the situation is very fluid. Especially when asked about whether or not he would definitely be on the roster this year. They said it's a fluid situation. Just quick thoughts on that?
Well, I know you like it when I rant, Dame, but I'm gonna keep this one really fucking simple. That's coach speak. That's coach speak. Lazard is on his ass is getting on a plane and heading the fuck out of here,
Yeah.
and I can't wait. Can't wait. So that's all that is. Fluid, come on, like he's gone.
Yeah. And honestly, barring him just taking pennies, he might even be on the 90 man. But come August 1st, mid-August, like he is not gonna threaten the 53 in my opinion, unless the rest of this offseason goes horribly wrong, man. Because if you ask me, Josh Reynolds, he is a safer bet, especially considering Glenn knows him. Glenn's worked with him. They brought him in. He has a incentive-laden deal, which I don't think they would have done if he was going to be buried on the depth chart. So just you can glean a little bit on what they're, the signings they make, how they structure them, and how they go about the rest of the draft. We'll know. It's not going to...
about the Josh Reynolds thing. One thing that I just like, to me, like, you know how like people come up with comps for players and things like that. Well, I have a comp word for Josh Reynolds. I think it's the reason that he was brought in, and I think it's the role that he plays on this team. And the comp word, just one word for Josh Reynolds, is trustworthy. I think that he is trustworthy, and they needed a guy like that in there because like that's like the exact opposite of what Alan Lazard is. Um, they wanted a guy in there, a veteran that knows how to do his job, that will do his job to the best of his capability, and he's a guy that you want to have around the young talent on the team. You know, so I thought that it hit me. I was thinking about that Josh Ward, or not Josh Worthy, you know what I mean, the Josh Reynolds signing, and it was just like trustworthy. That was the feeling I got out of that. It's not like the guy's uber super talented and he's going to go off for 1,500 yards this year. Like nobody really expects that, but you needed like that trustworthy guy in there. You know, that guy that, you know, when all else fails, like you can trust he's going to do his job on third down. You know,
Yeah.
you can trust that he's going to be there. So that's what I'm getting out of that signing, and I like that signing.
And I think you're onto something too, because another point that they drilled home is that they were constantly asked about what they've done already in free agency and how it's been under the radar, da 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 da. They both continuously made the point to say that they were targeting second contract guys, guys that are hungry, but that age group, that situation, guys looking for like a second chance. Uh, I think Josh Reynolds is one of the very few guys that we signed that was older than that. Well older than that. Most of our signings were 25 years old, 26 maybe. Josh, he's 30, but like you said, trustworthy. Hey, and it's like 2 million bucks, and it can go up to 3.5. So hey, let's go, man. That is the kind of guy that he doesn't raise your ceiling. He definitely raises your floor, and we need some guys that raise our floor. Can we maybe hit tight end next and raise our floor there? But
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
that does feel like where they're kind of going with some of these signings. Now, I think on the other side of it, I think when we get to the draft, there's going to be a lot of high ceiling guys in there. I mean, they said it in that presser, man. They like Brandon Stevens because he's tall, he's lengthy, he's fast, all the things that you want, you know. Well, you might see a lot of that type of stuff in the draft, man. Because they think they can coach, man. So if Glenn thinks he can coach these boys up and get them in position to succeed, I think it'll be like that. Another high floor signing that the defensive tackle, um, is it Derek Noddy? Not yeah,
yep,
wasn't sure how to pronounce it exactly, but I think that's another kind of like floor. Like, okay, we got this guy in case the draft doesn't work our way. We have somebody here that can kind of fill that role. So to me, those were two signings that really felt like, hey, let's build the floor, the foundation here. So we got not the foundation necessarily, but let's just make sure that we're not falling through holes in the floor here when we're walking through the house.
right, right. And I've heard talk of Clemens going inside to defensive tackle and like just rumors and shit. But like that can't be our floor. It can't. And with a signing like Naughty, it shouldn't be. Uh, so jump into the O line. I mentioned AVT. They did mention that, and I think we should too. They Mougey basically said AVT is a guard, but my thoughts when I heard him say that was now, like right now, we haven't had the draft. We haven't, we're 6 months away, man, and he's gonna be where we need him to be. So we'll see how that plays out. It's the right answer right now on April 1st or whatever. Sticking with the O line, though, and I'll get your thoughts on that point and this one. They were basically asked about us signing the center from Green Bay, Josh Myers, and the beat even kind of implied like about bringing a center in and possibly it forcing Tippmann over one and AVT over one, basically. Mougey he squashed it, man. And I really liked his answer. He basically just said, man, we're not even thinking positioning or schematics or game plan when we're doing this. Right now, we're just acquiring O-linemen. Doesn't matter what they're, wherever you have them charted does not matter in March or in April. I mean, yeah, you don't want 5 centers, obviously. But like, hey, the guys we have now have versatility. Awesome. We're not going and signing specific guys to plug into the starting lineup. We're gathering resources, and that is how a GM should be, because then you say to yourself, Glenn, I'm giving you all this clay to take into camp. You figure it out. It's Glenn's job. It's not Mougey, you know what I mean? So I really like that he put it that way. We're just acquiring guys. Regardless of where you guys in the media, you fans, want to peg them in, no diddy, like wherever you want to peg them in, doesn't matter. It's March. So please go out, find all the talent you can, because like I said, Tippmann, AVT, they're both versatile. They can both play 2+ spots on the line. It'll sort itself out later.
Yeah, and you can never have enough talent, right? Like, who the hell in this stream, who the hell in the chat or in the Jets fandom is going to complain about having like 3 starting caliber right guards? Like, no, like, okay, sure. I mean, sucks for the 2 that are not playing, but it's nice to have. But you're right though. Like, this is just the beginning of April. Nobody is slotted in anywhere right now, right? Like, this is, like you said, just resource gathering time. This is the time where you're gathering your lumber, your materials to build the house. I do think that they do think AVT is a guard. Like, I think that's not a lie, and I agree with that. But I do think they know that AVT can play tackle if need be. I don't think they want that to be the case, but I think that they have that in the back of their heads, so they know if worse comes to worse, we have some fluidity on our line, right? So they're not lying when they say he's a guard, but like, nobody is permanently slotted into anything right now. I mean, except for your kickers or Justin Fields. Yeah, probably a quarterback, but hell, maybe he's fucking tied in by the time the season starts. We'll see.
Facts. And I do have a good bit of points, so I'm just going to rattle a few off. Mougey made a specific point not to say that we are not done at defensive tackle. Love that. He said that during that meeting, the Jets have not even assembled their big board yet. He said that when they get back from the meetings, that will be their main job, basically, is to get all the positions together and slot them. So it just is, I laugh in my head because I'm like, all these rumors we've heard where the Jets are trying to figure out between this player and that player at 7. They haven't even done their board yet, okay? So, love hearing that. Mougey said that the scouts and the coaches will help put the board together, and then he'll pretty much do the picking, I believe. But it'll be a collaborative effort, and he did say that. One more before I see if you had anything to comment on those. He said the same with Cisco as he said with Stevens. They really liked how he fit the profile that they were looking for at safety. And again, I think especially in the secondary, the measurables, the profile is almost more important than past your resume basically. It's what they see you doing in the future. They trust that more than what you've done in the past for somebody else.
Yeah, and that goes back to what I was talking about earlier, is that they trust their coaching. I think that's why. Um, as far as the big board stuff, like, yeah, of course, like they're still finalizing things, and getting some last minute interviews in and things like that. So um, there's no, but I the scouts have done their work already. Like, all the work is 99.999% done. It's just a matter of meeting up and gathering all the intel together and figuring it out. I don't think that's a cause for panic by any means. Um, I think I forgot where I was going. I'll be honest with you. I forgot where I was going with that. I had another
Hey,
point, but
no
gone,
worries.
gone. I saw my beer and I was like, "Ooh, delicious." Point.
Brian Costello asked both of them, and I thought it was just ridiculous. But he asked both of them how they thought the roster. Do they think the roster is better now than when they took over? Which is insane, if you ask me, man. Like, when they took over was at the end of a season when you have a whole roster. Now you're talking to them, what, 3 weeks into free agency, and what do you want them to say? Like, but yeah, he asked both of them that. Kind of dumb.
Yeah, that's rough to ask them that in the beginning of April. Got the whole draft. There's still free agency. There's a second round of free, like, you know what I mean? Like, there's like the post June 6th cuts and stuff like that. Like, there's a whole nother layer to this that goes on. So to ask
Facts.
him now is definitely a reach in my opinion, but I wouldn't expect anything less from Cause. Um, I, but I mean, if you're going to answer it right now, no, the roster isn't as good as it was last year. I mean, that's plain and simple. There's some pieces that we added that I like you mentioned Cisco. Man, I that's my favorite signing
Yep.
so far.
Yep.
The thing I don't like about it is that it was only a 1 year deal. You know,
Yeah.
so if he performs well and he's out there laying licks and getting picks, and we don't fucking re-sign him next year, like, I'm gonna be really upset about it. And the
Right.
kid was he a Jets fan when he grew up and everything? He's so pumped to be here. Like, I love his mentality. I love the thing that you reposted or whatever they call it on X nowadays. That he was where he was talking about Shadur Sanders, how he pats the ball before he throws it, and he said, "We're going to break on that real quick. We see you patting that ball," and I'm like, man, he's got that film mind, man. I love it because that's the type of stuff they look for. The DBs look for those little subtle nuances, like, oh, this quarterback twitches his right foot to the left a little bit right before he goes to draw back, like those little things like that. They look for that so they can break on those balls and get those picks.
That I'm glad you mentioned that because I almost forgot. That was cool because you see Cisco, and this is at his pro day. Shador, literally every drop back Shador has, he's basically like you said, patting it, but it's a tell, man. It's like playing poker. And yeah, Cisco was not shy. He's like, bro, we'll break on that every time. And then you watch the clip of Shador and he's doing it. You can hear him patting the ball. It echo through the whole place. Every drop back. It's like, oh man, that's your pro day, man. But yeah, Cisco, he seems like a fun guy. A lot like the Green Goblin, he reminds me, especially when it comes to social media. Just a clever, witty guy. So, I like you said, you want to give a guy like the time to give him 2 years was now because he had a bad last year. If he does well and Glenn makes him better this year, his price is going up. So I'm with you on that, man. It would have been nice to get him for more than just this year, which is, you know,
I understand being careful. Like, I get that, but like, every 2 year deal can be a 1 year deal. Like
True.
we see that in the NFL all the times. It's like, it's I'm just going to throw numbers out here. It's 2 years for 20 million and 12 million guaranteed. Well, you're paying him 10 million the first year and only 2 the next. Well, yeah, you can cut him the next year if he's that bad. You know what I mean? But if he's good, then if you struggle with your contract negotiations and you can't come to an agreement on an extension, you still got him for that other year. you know. So I don't know. I felt like 2 years would have been better for sure, but we'll see how it goes. Season's not even close yet, so I am excited about him though.
A couple last things on Mougey before I get to Glenn. Something I didn't know is that Stone Smart, who we grabbed from the Chargers, he's a former quarterback, which I like. Isaiah Oliver, who we brought back, Swiss Army knife, that guy. He played under Wilkes before. I really like that. Did not know that. Second
Did he
contract,
play
guys.
safety though? I'm curious. Do you know if he played
Oliver?
safety for Wilkes?
I don't know for Wilkes, but I know he has a lot of experience at safety or corner or nickel. Like, he can do it all. Special team guy.
Yeah. I like having a guy back there that can, you can move around if need be. And he's not terrible either. Like he's not I wouldn't say he's a great player or anything, but he's a good guy to have on the roster, I think.
Facts. Yeah, but the main thing when you hear from Muji, though, in my opinion, yeah, you hear the clickbaity stuff, but like the second contract guys, the decision making I like, and like because roster construction and philosophy is like what interests me the most. And it's nice to get a peek into what exactly went through their mind with some of these signings because, we were all kind of scrambling, to Wikipedia and shit when we heard some of them. Glenn, there's just a couple things that didn't overlap that I wanted to mention. He did mention that they just, they want Fields to be basically to blossom as a passer. He really, really hit that home to the point, and he even said he's not trying to knock it, Fields' past coaching, but dude, it's like saying no offense and then offending someone.
Mm-hmm.
Glenn basically, he basically said that in the past, Fields would be allowed to just be an athlete, and Glenn is portraying that he doesn't want that to be the case with us. He wants him to, like I said, develop as a passer. Yeah, will his legs bail us out? Sure. But I don't know if that's a sign that maybe RPO is not coming. I mean, I doubt it. Like I said, we're talking in April. But just nice because I'm sure that was one of the selling points when they negotiated with Fields. Like, we want to give you a chance to be a franchise quarterback. Now, will you? That's up to you. But like, we're not just gonna use you as a weapon, and then you're in the same spot the next time you negotiate where you're not a franchise quarterback again.
I think the career trajectory for Justin Fields is actually pretty interesting. Um, because in college, I would not have classified him as a run first guy. Justin Fields was slinging that ball in college. Um, I actually thought he was pretty accurate too. So whenever he came to the NFL, and then all of a sudden he's running for 100 yards a game and stuff, I was like, I mean, I knew he could run. I just never thought he was a run first guy. And I always wondered, I'm like, is that coaching? Are they telling him like, oh, just do this for now until the game slows down for you? And I can see that for his first few games or something like that. Maybe you're like, okay, yeah, but to just completely just lean on that felt not a good idea. I feel like you can hinder a quarterback's growth doing something like that. So for his career to go like that in college, like he was not a run first guy. He goes to the NFL, they're telling him, yeah, hey, you can run it. And then now it's, we're talking about like, hey, we're going to tap into that arm that you have. And he has a hell of an arm on him. I just think that's an interesting roller coaster for him. I hope it works out. Obviously, I think all of us do. But I just hope that it's not like damage done already. Like he's got this like internal clock that's like, hey, just take off running, like no matter what.
Good, dude. Good point.
Can happen.
And while you were talking, I was just thinking to myself, like, it's like polar opposite of what we had with Rodgers. Like, and one of my biggest pet peeves with Rodgers was like he took way too long to develop synergy with receivers. Like, dude, you're a Hall of Fame quarterback, and you need like a year to get good with guys. Like, you favor Lazard because you already got that out of the way. You couldn't deal with Christian Watson. You couldn't deal with Dobbs. Like, it just took him too long. I'm hoping that, like you said, he was cooking at Ohio State with Garrett. Maybe Fields will at least have Garrett and that synergy. It should come back way faster than, like, we don't have to reset with Rod, like, because like I said, it took Rodgers a while to get chemistry. Hopefully, we have a little bit of that baked in with Fields, because not only Garrett, but we got Ruckert and Chad. If you want to blast me for this, but I think Ruckert's going to be on this roster. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see them getting rid of it. I mean, how many tight ends do we have on the roster right now? 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not going to get rid of him. He would at the very least be a tight end 3. I am curious. I feel like Garrett, like they were like on the team together. I don't know how much they really like played together though at Ohio State. I think Garrett's breakout year was with Stroud, wasn't it?
I think so.
So he might have been like a wide receiver 3 or 4 or something, like whenever Justin was there, but I'm not sure. I'd have to look it up, and I don't want to take the time on camera to do it now. But
no, you're fine.
Either way, there's still some synergy. Like they were in practice together. They were there's definitely synergy there, because it's not like the quarterback just throws to his top 2 or 3 guys in practices and stuff like that. Like they know each other, so I think that's only a positive. It does feel like we're becoming the New York Buckeyes, though, huh?
It does, man. And we were talking about Reynolds earlier. Glenn actually worked with him all the way back to when he played at Texas A&M. Really cool. So a lot of ties in our offense, whether it be quarterback to pass catcher, coach to pass catcher. There's just a little bit of, hey, it'll help. A new offense, new system being installed. Any little shortcut you have will be helpful, especially because I think we're going to be adding like 3 or 4 rookies that are going to get significant snaps into this offense. So, hey, if Reynolds got a little bit of communication advantage with Glenn, and Wilson or Ruckert does with Fields, it'll all help. So anyways, guys in the chat, we see you down there cooking. I just wanted to shout you out. Harlan, Tyson, Sean, saw Dom earlier. Great to have you guys here. If there's something we're saying you want to chime in on or something, throw it in the chat. Or if there's something we missed, throw it down there. We're gonna be going to the rumor of the week here in a second, and hopefully that'll spark the conversation a little bit too.
Can I run by a scenario before we get into that?
Yes, you can. Yeah. You know what? I got to refresh. So give me 30 seconds. If you want to just cook, I can hear you on my phone.
Okay. Well, I'm just going to explain the room, and you can respond to it when you come back.
Okay.
So if Justin Fields makes a surgence, like I want to call it a resurgence because he was never really at that level, but if he improves, but he's not elite, like I'm talking like if he gives us like Geno Smith vibes, like maybe not that first year where he really broke out, but like last year where he was good but not great. He could, on a good team, he could probably get him to the playoffs or so on and so forth. How do you approach him after that? Do you want to keep him for a few years, draft a young guy, and then replace him? Do you say fuck it, this is the best quarterback we've had in a long time, extend his ass? How would you approach that if that's what we get?
Well, let me ask you this. I if this draft and next year's draft go the way I want them to go, and that's maybe a mid-round quarterback this year, a high round quarterback next year, I don't want either one starting until 2027. Hate to say it, guys, but if you're taking a third or fourth round quarterback this year, you're putting them in an incubator for 2 years. Jordan Travis, maybe 2 years at least, doesn't matter. The first round quarterback next year that I think is 70% likely to be coming, he needs a year, man. So that's 2 more years of Fields that I get to collect data on before really deciding. He's locked under contract, right? He's locked under contract this year. He's locked under contract next year. We can get out sooner, but we don't have to give him more money until after that. So it's too soon to commit to one stance, but I think it's worth giving him the chance, right? The only thing I don't like, and I missed a hair of how you phrased, the setup, but I want us to have an answer. I don't want it to be like Zach, where it's like, yeah, do you got to give him another year?
Yeah.
Like,
He
we
has
need
he, in this scenario, he has a, a surgeons. He has like Geno Smith last year type performance, like solid, but like not good or great. Like, then how do you approach him? What if he plays both years like that? Like we're talking 24-10 touchdown to interception ratio, 3,700 yards, and maybe a couple hundred yards and a touchdown on the ground or whatever. I don't know.
That's damn good, man. Then I'm done. I don't care, man. Like we are so tormented at quarterback. Like that's a good problem to have, and I'm not gonna let Fields go at that point. I'm gonna keep him. If it's $50 million and we're paying Sauce 30 and Garrett 30 and Quinnen 30 and JJ 20, maybe it's a different argument. Maybe. But and I just want to respond to Wild Wave. I see the comment there. Like, I'm not married to even taking a quarterback in the mid rounds this year, unless you trade back at 7, and then all of a sudden you're staring at 10 picks. We have 8 picks right now, and I want to slide. If we slide at 7, we're gonna have 10, 11 picks, and okay, then maybe I don't even take one, and I just put all my eggs in next year's basket. But like, there's nothing you can tell me right now that would have me not draft a quarterback high next year. Not a single scenario. I don't care if Fields wins an MVP, man. I gotta take that quarterback.
Okay. So that was part of my question too. Was like, so even if he does have a surgeons, you're saying we're drafting a guy the following year, and you'll just deal with the problems as they arise.
The only thing that would change is, are we trading up for one? Because then we're picking what, 28th? We're, like, that's the difference. Like, if Fields plays terrible this year, we have to mortgage to go up and get a quarterback. Or we get the QB4. You know, that's a whole nother argument. But like,
Well, if he plays terrible, the team's probably going to be,
well, true,
so
true.
we won't have to move up very much, if at all.
But if he's cooking, then maybe I just stick and pick at pick 20. Because there's legit four or five good quarterbacks coming next year. I like Aller early on, but there's others. Nuss, there's a couple.
Archie, but he's going to be number one overall probably. So
Yeah. But my game plan doesn't change, just how strongly I'm going to enact it. That's what I'm trying to say. That's the only thing Fields could curb for me is how strongly I do what I'm going to do. But I'm still going to do what I'm going to do.
Yeah. Speaking of number one overall, the Jets, have they only ever had first pick once? Ever?
Chat, let us know. Some
What's
of you
that,
guys... Keyshawn, 96.
I think that's it. I'm pretty sure I've wikied this before.
Do you count the Namath draft? Because it was like pre, yeah.
Yeah, that we weren't even in the NFL at that point. I think it was AFL or something. So since the NFL has been established, and that I don't think that had the first.
Chat's
overall.
coming. Daniel, the chat is coming alive. They just missed our entire 40 minutes of cooking. You guys now got to go back to the beginning and listen to all of that word for word.
So, you're not getting it anymore.
Now, definitely hit the like, guys. Appreciate you guys joining us. We've responded. Basically, I've given every note from the Mougey and Glenn pressers that you didn't hear on back pages and social media posts. We had some good convo about that. Next up, I do want to get into the rumor of the week, because I think when we do have callers, I think that they will want to sound off on this next topic first and foremost. Shit. You know what? Before I get into that, what would your strategy, should Fields play that well, what would it be? I didn't give you a chance.
Oh, so you're hitting me with my own question. Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
If Fields plays as well as I said, you said MVP. That's a little different. That's a little different. MVP is big deal. That's big time. If he plays adequately over the next year, like this, or at least this year, I'm, like you said, still drafting a quarterback in the first round next year, based on 1 year of seeing him. I think it's a better, like it's kind of like the Vikings thing. It's just like, we'll deal with it. Like, we got Kirk Cousins, and and then we'll figure it out, like, when the time comes. It's just like, we just haven't had that guy. And then for a guy to go off, and when he goes off, it's still like, it's like good but not great. It's not enough to change my mind, because we saw that out of Fitzpatrick, right?
Exactly. Yep.
So,
and even if he does, then honestly, deep down, I'm thinking to myself, can any like, is it our scheme? Can anyone succeed here? Like, I'm still hesitant to say, oh, he really blew up on his own. So that's it's an argument we would have to have when we get to it. But I already heard the chime that we do have someone in the green room, so I want to get this topic out on the floor before we bring in our first guest. The rumor that it's funny, because the Danger Zone is no stranger to this topic, man. I've been spouting it all off season. Trade Breece. Do we? Should we? Is that on our table? Apparently, it's a real rumor now, and the rumor is that Denver is interested in him. Have you heard this at all? Is this the first time you're hearing it?
The Denver thing, it's definitely that's the first I've heard of it. I think at this point you're not getting enough out of for Breece to warrant it. Like I gotta get like what I think is going to be like a mid to high second round pick out of him for me to want to get rid of him because I think this year you're going to rely on him big time. And I love our backfield. Like I love Braylon Allen, Isaiah Davis. Like I like our guys. I do. But I just don't think it's worth getting rid of Breece just
So
yet. And you're getting some proper compensation. Like
what's your cutoff then? Are you saying a top 50 pick?
yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying.
For me, like I mean, I'm building for beyond 2025, and I would have to honestly look at the offer. But I think mine's a little lower than yours. You're saying top 50. It's on your table. I think for me, let's see. The first 3 rounds are like 100 picks. I would say a top 80 pick, and I'm doing it. A top 100 pick, and I'm thinking about it because. But also, I don't know how Breece has enjoyed his stay in New York. Like, also, if you're offering me pick number 90, let's just say it's a good team wanting to give us a third, then I know it's going to be around 90. If you're doing that, I would then go to Breece and say, hey, we do want to keep you. Would you be willing to work with us, and we'll pay you like the 10th running back in the league, the 12th running back in the league. Like I'm not opposed to keeping him is what I'm trying to say. It's just either the contract has to be right for me or the compensation. Then you got to ask yourself, do you get more compensation if it's in October by him balling out in September? Like, dude, it's a whole ass thing. But some people dead set against it, don't even care. Don't care if Breece is walking, if he's staying. They're not trading him today. Some people are. Some people trading him don't even care if it's a fourth. I've heard on other shows a third and a fourth would get it done for people, even if the fourth is a different year. A third now, a fourth later would get it done. Other people, 2 4s would get it done. Like, I go to the negotiation table and lock him in if he's willing to. And like I said, there's a million angles. But for you, if it's the Chiefs offer you a second, you're saying no because it's not a top 50 pick.
They would have. Okay, so the compensation level is a top 50 pick. But if it's a team that isn't likely to have a top 50 pick, then they have to give me a little bit more. You know what I mean? So if the Chiefs offer me a second and a fourth, yeah, gonna do it.
I'm
Gonna
with
do it.
you.
Maybe even a second and a fifth, but I'd think about that.
Well,
Um,
what do you think? Do you want to go to a third opinion on this?
let's see.
All right. So we got our first guest of the night, folks. Let's bring him out. I want to hear what he has to say. Maybe about Breece, maybe about something else. Without further ado, the one, the only, Charles Gorman. What's up, brother?
Charles.
Hey guys, about the Breece trade, I'm not interested. I want to keep Breece. I like him a lot. I've said this once, I'll say it again from a talent perspective and to some degree our production perspective. He's the best running back we've had since Freeman McNeil back in 1981, I think. He was the third overall pick in that draft, and he is one of the greatest running backs in the history of the franchise. So, I also heard the Jets are probably thinking about trading for Kyle Pitts. That's an interesting one as well. But the thing is, I know a lot of people think Kyle Pitts stinks. The thing is, Kyle Pitts, he's a talented tight end. When he was in Florida, he was compared to Darren Waller, who had some very productive years with the Raiders. The problem is, I don't think Kyle Pitts was really utilized properly with Atlanta, especially with the coaching staff. I don't think it was really because of his talent or production. I think it was really because of how he was utilized and how how he got open and stuff like that. But I wouldn't be against trading for Kyle Pitts. But the thing is, what do we have to give up in order to get Kyle Pitts? And number three, as for who I would want with the 7th overall pick, I know we've had this conversation before. I know a lot of people, including my buddy Nick Shine, wants to get Tyler Warren. But honestly, as much I would love to get a weapon, believe me, I do. I want someone to take a little pressure off of our boy Garrett Wilson, who's been nothing short of a sensation for us since he's coming into the league. But we need to complete this offensive line. I'm gonna make a video about this on my channel sometime, either Sunday or Monday, that a good offensive line is just as important as having a quarterback, because the game is won and lost in the trenches. And we haven't had a complete all-around good offensive line since 2015, where we had DeBrickashaw, James Carpenter, Mangold, Willie Colon, and I hope I said his name correctly, Bruno Guacamini, who was pretty decent. Giacomini, yeah, pretty decent right tackle. But here's the thing, though. I'm sorry. And but obviously our best offensive line was when we had it from 2008 to 2010, when we paired Alan Faneca up along with Damian Woody with Brandon Moore, Nick Mangold, and DeBrickashaw Ferguson. And of course, we had one of the all-time great fullbacks in Tony Richardson, who I think belongs in the Hall of Fame, but that's just me personally.
So you're saying tackle. You want tackle.
Look, you can never go wrong going with the trenches, because the trenches is very important. I know a lot of people were very upset with the Becton pick, but he was a talented player. Unfortunately, he was very immature, and the coaches were terrible and soft. It was a bad on both ends. It wasn't just one side. It was both sides that were a problem. But would I be against the weapon? No, but we need to protect just the fits, because if you go back to his days in Chicago, offensive line wasn't very good. And number two, he didn't have a whole lot of weapons outside of Darnell Mooney, DJ Moore, and Cole Kmet. And the defense wasn't that good either. Plus, even though the Pittsburgh's a better organization than the Bears, their offensive line wasn't that great, and the Arthur Smith's offense was not that well schemed and strategized and stuff like that. But Justin Fields still got stuff done. I'm not saying his play was perfect last year, but he still completed 65% of his passes. He only committed 2 turnovers, 1 interception, and 1 lost fumble, and scored 10 total touchdowns, 5 passing, 5 rushing. The talent is there. It's just that we need to see if our coaching staff, and I don't want to sound like a truther, I do believe they have the potential to be good, but let's see what they're capable of. Obviously, we're at this point, we're so tired of being disappointed. We're so tired of being let down and depressed. We have to see with our eyes. They got to pass the eye test consistently. And it's not just when it comes to wins and losses about getting into a guy's face, chewing his butt off, disciplining a guy, benching a guy. I don't care.
Can I ask
Bill
you something?
Parcells. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So you want to have a complete O-line. You want continuity. If you go
absolutely,
tackle,
hold
on though. Here's my question: if you go tackle, do you worry that you'll never complete this O-line, because then next year AVT and John Simpson are both set to walk? Are you doing tackle and then you're also trying to extend AVT? Where are you at there with you really want a complete O-line?
I know you can't have your cake and eat it too, but I do want to complete the O-line. I do want to get continuity in. I think it's both to have continuity and to complete the O-line, because last year, in terms of pass protection, we were pretty damn good, especially when we had put in the Penn State guy, Olu Fashanu, in there. And, to me, his best game was against Seattle, where he didn't allow a single pressure. And he wasn't going up against scrub. These were grown-ass men. These were experienced veterans. who's had success, and Olu Fashanu, who was a rookie last year, held the fort down, protected Aaron Rodgers' blind side. And, Olu Fashanu, he was a very good player in Penn State, even though people said his biggest, I wouldn't say his weakness, but it's something that he needs to get better at is run blocking, which is something I think we can all agree, but he wasn't terrible at it. But, I like John Simpson, no relation to Homer. Laugh out loud, let's get that out of the way now. He was very good in pass protection last year, and he was very good in run blocking. Joe Tippmann's the truth. He's a great center to me. He's the best center we've had since they've mangled so far. I like AVT. I know a lot of people want to push him out to tackle, but he's been healthier as a guard than he's been at tackle. Every time we put him out to tackle, he plays well at tackle, but he's more susceptible to injury at tackle than at guard. So I'd keep him at right guard and get a tackle. I know Jedrick Wills is still a free agent, but the Jets should still try to sign him if they can. They should try to get either Membo or the guy from Oregon, from what I heard, is supposed to be pretty good too, either in the second or third round. But
Connerly,
yeah, thank you. But we need to win in the trenches because look at the Detroit Lions. The Detroit Lions, what helped set that team on the right path wasn't just the quarterback, wasn't just the wide receivers and Aiden Hutchinson. It was the trenches, baby. It was that offensive line being a bunch of road graders. And that kind of influenced the other parts of the lines to be good. The defensive line, the running backs, the receivers. That influenced success on this team. Yes, the coaching staff had a lot to do with it. Not denying that. But what helps set, in terms of a talent perspective, what helped set that foundation was Penei Sewell, who I think I actually wanted him more than Zach Wilson. Thank you, big fella.
I thought they were both. I thought they were both quality quarterback prospects. And I mean, if you looked at it, if you compared, not knowing what we know now about Zach Wilson and Justin Fields and how their careers went, but if you took that quarterback class and put it in this quarterback class, like every one of them dudes is going before Shadir Sanders, like based on the talent coming out of the draft.
Exactly. But I know a good buddy of mine, Matthew Smith, has a big obsession over Cam Ward. I've seen his highlights. I was impressed with him. But I was actually I'm not trying to take away from Cam Ward. His best season statistically was God, I forgot that university he was in. Shit. Before Florida. Before Miami, excuse me. But he threw like 47 touchdowns during one season at that, university. And I know Wild Wave's saying that there's no Sewell or Alt in this draft, which is very true. But according to a lot of these experts, Membo's a really good tackle. Membo's better. People say Will Campbell from LSU is better as a guard than as a tackle. That's fine. But we're good at guard for now. Like, I'm not saying we're great at guard, but we have good depth at guard. Right now, we need a right tackle. Because Okorafor, I'm not saying is bad, but he's not like the guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's not the guy. I did like the Josh Myers signing. He's a very solid center. He's a great backup for Joe Tippmann in case shit happens to Joe Tippmann. But as for, we need a right tackle. And we need that. And, I'm not saying we shouldn't go after offensive linemen in later rounds, but if we can get I would love Tyler Warren. I never saw him play against Boise State, which I believe was Aston Genty's team. And, but we need help in the trenches, I like Justin Fields. My father wanted Justin Fields in case they did move on from Sam Darnold. And by the way, me and my dad were pro keeping Sam Darnold, but I'll save that conversation for another time. But, you know, what we need to do right now is, I understand a lot of Jet fans aren't having those high expectations. That's 100% understandable because in 2023 and 2024, we got punched in the nuts by a super heavyweight boxer, and that shit wasn't funny or pretty. And I
So
think
if we go tackle first, what do you want us to do the next two picks?
get a weapon, get a quarterback, and maybe get a more depth with the offensive line. I'm not saying we have to go all offense. Would I be against, for shits and giggles, drafting a kicker? No, but I wouldn't want a kicker in the first round. That would.
Right.
Could you imagine we drafted a kicker in the first round? You know how many pissed off we would be, bro?
We might keep Glenn, but we would have Mougey on a pike, his head. Like, there's no way.
Half of New York and New Jersey would be on fire.
I already think that Mougey's on thinner ice than Glenn, you know. But, dude, I would have liked, honestly, a hot take, but I would have liked to see Joe Douglas with Aaron Glenn. But, you know, whatever. Let's not. That's a
Big
whole
fella
nother.
said, huge shout out to him. There's no Janikowski in this draft. I love Janikowski. He's one of the best fat guys I ever saw play football. And yes, for a kicker, he was a fat guy and he was great.
So, do you trust Greg Z trying to win the job? Like,
Well, people forget. I'm not saying I understand he wasn't very good last year, but in 2022 to 2023, he was good. Like people, because one bad year, all of a sudden now the dude's washed. You know, Greg Zuerlein, as good as he's been throughout the majority of his career, I think he's entitled to have a bad year or two. But honestly, I think we can't just let him have the job. We got to make him earn it. And I know some people are saying Greg Zuerlein can go in the chat, but people saying I don't think he's 93 years old, but
I think most of his money too is pretty much guaranteed. So like we ought to at least bring him to camp, if not to push a rookie or teach a rookie kicker how, you know, an undrafted free
that's
agent.
what I'm saying. Bring him into camp to push the rookie, to inspire the rookie, and even to mentor the rookie. Why do you think we brought in our Tyron Smith just for him to play? We brought him. You know, I'm not denying the fact that Tyron Smith was a disappointment for us last year, but I think bringing in Tyron Smith kind of inspired Olu Fashanu to step up to the plate. And obviously during the preseason, during the offseason, during the OTAs, he kind of mentored Olu Fashanu. And to sit there and say, well, Tyron Smith was a bad signing, I would say yes, but not completely a bad signing because he mentored Olu Fashanu. And if it wasn't for his mentoring skills, Olu Fashanu probably would not have been as good as he was last year. No one's good on their own, man. You gotta learn. You gotta learn.
The Breece Hall debate, do you want to chime in? You said keep him.
Me?
Yeah.
I would love to keep him. I like Breece. I wish though he's probably my favorite running back. You know, I really like Breece. I like his character. But personally though, there's one negative I could say about Breece. He doesn't have that Thomas Jones work ethic. You know, Thomas Jones, for those of you who are new to the channel or are new to me, even though he only played with us for about 3 years, he's my favorite Jets running back of all time. Not because of his talent, not because of his production, but because of his work ethic. There's a video on YouTube called The Thomas Jones Story. And Thomas Jones said what inspired him to work hard and effortlessly in the NFL were his parents. His parents worked in the coal mines. That shit's not an easy job. It's a hard job. It's a risky job. And that inspired him to work his ass off. Thomas Jones, I felt, was one of the best running backs of his era, not because of his talent, but because of his work ethic. He practiced hard. He was like one of those guys that was the first one in and the last guy out. And
I mean, Breece did work his way back from an ACL. I
Oh, I
honestly
understand
wonder.
that completely.
I
I'm
wonder if
not
he
taking
burned
away what
himself
Breece Hall
out
did, and
though.
it still pisses me off that he did not get a single consideration for comeback play of the year in 2023. I thought that was such bullshit.
You know, that O
But what
line
I'm
took a
saying is,
while to mesh too.
I'm not saying Breece Hall's lazy or not a good player, but I wish he had that attitude a bit more. I'm not saying he doesn't work hard. I'm not saying he doesn't play. I'm not saying he's lazy. I'm not saying he takes plays off. But what I'm saying,
Oh man. Oh, the cliffhanger. The cliffhanger.
Are you reading or did you freeze?
I both.
Okay.
Yeah, he froze.
Modine, you are 100% wrong. He had a great year in 2023. What the hell is he talking about?
I will say we had higher hopes for him, and I don't think he's hit his ceiling. See that's the argument I think. Do you think he's hit his ceiling, and do you
Oh,
think he
absolutely not.
can, and if not, do you think he can under Glenn?
I think he can exceed his ceiling under Glenn. I think he can reach it and exceed it. Look, let me tell y'all something right now. Forget his off the field issues. I'm talking about this player. Adrian Peterson was a freak of nature. He tore his ACL and MCL, and he comes back and nearly breaks Eric Dickerson's record. Not everyone is Adrian Peterson, but Breece Hall in 2023 was pretty damn solid, pretty damn good. He had over 1,580 plus scrimmage yards. That's not easy. And so it's really, Breece, I think, but look, if Breece Hall, I'm not saying he's going to slouch or anything like that, but if things don't work out with Breece this season, then I might consider him trading him next season.
Well, you can't. This is his last year.
Oh, okay. Never mind. My apologies.
So does that change your because you have to deal him before Halloween, or he's walking? Well, I mean, you could sign him, but what I'm saying is his contract is expired after this season.
People are saying in the chat it's old news. I'm not really a big fan of what have you done for me. Now that to me is kind of jerkyish to me.
Fair. You trust though that he's gonna have that his best is in front of him, not behind him.
I don't think his best is behind him at all. Plus, Nathaniel Hackett was a horrible offensive coordinator, and the Aaron Rodgers experiment was a bust. Which
Keith Carter.
Keith Carter, yes, but you know, but first, let's see how well things go in training camp, and then we'll think about trading Breece.
Okay.
But right now, I don't think Breece is washed. I don't think Breece is done. Because
the running back draft is like historically good. Are you
this year,
drafting one? Yeah, and are you drafting one? And if so, around about when?
I know Kyle Clifton, huge shout out to him, loves Amarion Hampton from North Carolina.
That's a
And
first second round back right there.
but the thing is, but if you are going to trade Breece Hall this year, you better come up. You better. I'll tell you right now, and I agree with Daniel Murphy. You better get me a top 50 pick for that son bitch, because Breece is talented, and I think if we were to trade him to, let's say, Sean Payton's squad, current squad, the Broncos, I think he could thrive there, because Sean Payton, look, as much of an ass Sean Payton is, he's a hell of a coach. He did wonders with Drew Brees in New Orleans. Look what he did with Bo Nix. People didn't think too highly of Bo Nix. He helped Bo Nix develop into a very good quarterback.
I give him credit too for not trading up in last year's draft. I don't know if maybe he couldn't I think he could have, though. He stuck and picked the quarterback of his choosing.
And Bonehead's played his ass off. He's got talent, that dude. What disappointed me on a Sean Payton-led offense, they passed the ball way too fucking much. They don't.
They want Breece apparently.
I would give it to them if they give us a top 50 pick. If not, you ain't taking shit. You ain't taking Breece.
I can live with that. I could live with that to where let's see how he is in September. If a new blocking scheme, you got a right tackle, you got Tyron Smith out of here. If he looks like 2023 Breece or 2022 Breece in September, go to the negotiation table, man. Lock him in for 3 years.
Exactly.
If not, or if he's medium and you still don't trust him, maybe take a third rounder then, but we don't have to deal him on draft night, and a lot of people are approaching it that way. The deadline is really like early November.
I feel you, man. Look, I want this team to succeed next year. I'm not asking for a Super Bowl championship. I want to see improvement, not just in the wins and losses, but most importantly on the coaching. I want to see legitimate coaching. Because we haven't had, I know people liked Herman Edwards, but my dad said he wasn't a very good coach. He was more of a motivator. And the last time we had a great coach that was a great motivator and a great coach was Bill Parcells. I'm not saying Aaron Glenn is going to be the next Bill Parcells, but I do believe in the fact that Aaron Glenn, considering that he learned from Parcells as a player, that he learned from Sean Payton when he was a coach on the Saints, and that he learned from a rising star as a coach in Dan Campbell, who even Bill Parcells is a fan of. So there's that. So hopefully, for the first time since Parcells, we get a legitimate coach. We have ourselves a legitimate coach, not some blowhard or some softy. So that's all I really got to say for now. I don't want to take too much of your time. I'm sure you got other
You're fine,
callers.
man. No, you're great takes, Charles. At least on this channel, because I know you get into all sorts of topics everywhere else. On this one though, I like keeping you on football, and you were cooking, man. Every time we let you talk ball, you were cooking. So call anytime.
Yeah, man. I mean, I love talking football. I mean, NFL football is probably my second favorite sport behind Major League Baseball.
Second,
I know that.
okay.
Second?
That's a hot take.
Get
I'm
out of
sorry.
here, Charles. What are you talking about?
Dude, baseball was the first sport I fell in love with. I'm sorry.
Right. I guess they say it's America's sport.
Pastime.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I love NFL football, but baseball was my first love. You can't take that away from a brother.
Growing up in the summers, did you ever play any sports for fun outside or anything?
I played basketball. Mostly I just ran up and down the court. I played Pony League baseball. I think I was a shortstop. I did okay with that. I know some people don't consider this a sport, but I loved bowling. I did bowling, an adult child bowling with my father in Edison. It was a lot of fun. But other than that, that's the only sports I ever did. I didn't do football because I didn't have the athleticism.
Charles,
If I got talk about,
do you put the spin on the ball when you roll it down the lane? Or you just straight roll?
I do a straight roll most of the time.
Okay.
Sometimes I have a hard. Sometimes I suck with my accuracy, but I mostly just roll it down.
Okay.
When I went to that bowling thing for Hawk, I had some moments there, but a lot of times I was rusty, man. I haven't bowled in years, but it was a lot of fun.
It is fun.
I mean, as I said, I know I upset a lot of people when I said NFL football was my second favorite sport. I apologize.
You didn't. No, you didn't upset us. It's just a hot take. Like we weren't expecting you to say that.
Um, but I love baseball. I'm glad the Mets and Yankees won today. They both won by 5 runs. Very happy.
Hey, McGuire or Sosa?
Neither. Judge all day. I'm kidding. It's funny. I heard Sosa and McGuire are supposed to be nice guys, but they both. If there was one player that I would love to watch other than Ken Griffey Jr., it would be Hank Aaron. I would love to watch Hank Aaron. My dad had a lot of respect for Hank Aaron. He was a very consistent ball player, and he was a true gentleman, an absolute gentleman. Shame that we lost him. I would love to watch Hank Aaron, just the way he played the game. Like, obviously, now, if there was another one I would watch, I've heard so many people tell me that he was the best player they ever saw, and that was Willie Mays. He was an incredible
Really?
athlete. He
With the
was all
basket
compared to Mickey
catch,
Mantle.
man.
The catch in the World Series versus the Indians, yes. Someone asked me in the comments section, Wayne Westbrook cannot be. Look, Wes Welker was like 5'9", 5'8". Wayne Corbett was 5'10", 5'11". He was a short guy. I'm 5'4". I'm like 5'3", 5'4". I liked Welker because he was a short guy. He wasn't like a fucking, excuse my language for all the kids out there, like a Calvin Johnson or Andre, or even just watch highlights of him not too long ago. Julio Jones, where they were like 6 feet tall, that were explosive, athletic as fuck, and strong as shit. Wes Welker was a short dude, and he was tough, similar to Wayne Corbett. Now, I know a lot of people got upset when I said that, but I didn't mean it to offend people. If there was there are a lot of Jet players that I didn't before my time, before I got into the Jets that I wish I watched, and I would have loved to watch Wayne Corbett. I would have. My dad loved him. My dad was a big fan of his. He's a good person. He was very close friend. I'm sure he's still close friends with Michael Strahan. But I know people say you're a Jets fan. That doesn't mean shit. I'm not a Patriots fan because I liked Welker. He played for the Broncos too. Played for the Chargers. Played for the Dolphins. He had a pretty solid NFL career.
Hey, you can
So
respect a player's career and still like the player even if they did play on a rival team. Like as long
that's
as
what
they
I'm
want
trying to say.
a team, like I'm never gonna like Brady because he goes out there, he runs his mouth like, "Oh, I own the color green" and shit like that. Like I can't. I'm never gonna like Brady. But Welker, I don't have any problem with Welker.
Even though
Like
he did shoot his mouth about Rex Ryan's foot fetish in the 2010-2011 playoffs, which I thought was pretty funny.
it was kind of funny though. I mean, we were all kind of popping off the mouth about that, but
But Wes Welker, I mean, he had a good pair of hands, man. I mean, I'm not a Patriots fan, Mo Dean. I never said that. I don't know why everyone keep, I get it's supposed to be a joke and all, but I really is the enemy. Listen, I respect Welker professionally. I didn't like the fact that he played for the Patriots, but I respected the hell out of him. See, I'm gonna do a video where certain things sports fans do that piss me off, and I'm a sports fan myself. I've been a sports fan since I was 4 years old, and let me tell you, there are some things that we do that irritates the fuck out of me.
yeah.
But I really, I talk more about that. Doesn't make me a Patriots fan, Modine. I don't love the Pats. I hate Boston teams. I respected Vince Wilfork. Did Teddy Bruschi play at the Patriots on 09 or did he retire by then? Teddy
Oh, oh no.
Bruschi. Yeah,
I think he did. I I think he was. I think that might have been the year he retired, though. I'm not sure.
Big Phil's like, I hate Vince Wilfork. He was a beast, bro.
He was good.
He's wrong with his comments.
He
Thank
was.
you, Tyson Manning. Vince Wilfork was a stud. I mean, he may have been, and I can say this because I saw him play him. Him and Nick Mangold was probably my favorite offensive lineman versus defensive lineman matchup. Watching as a Jet fan, because Nick Mangold was one of the elite centers, and Vince Wilfork. Vince Wilfork was a dirty player. No, he wasn't. You think of the Ndamukong Suh.
Sue
Speaking
wasn't.
of speaking of Welker, man, did anybody have it better than him? Didn't he play with Tom and Peyton?
Yes,
Yeah.
but his best years were with Tom, though. I never
But
said they were the best.
that
Yes,
Peyton
Johnny
led
boy. I said they
offense,
were the best of all time. Just kidding. No, they weren't. I did not say that.
that Peyton led offense was the like best offense of all time, though. Like
I was thinking
record break
that
that
Welker
first.
was on that. Wasn't Welker on that team? Yeah,
Yeah.
dude, that was a good year for their offense, man. Uh,
5,000
I
passing
just
yards. Crazy.
who was it that like broke his face though? Didn't Welker get like blasted on a play, or am I misremembering?
Oh, Bernard Pollard, same guy that hurt Brady in '08. He hurt Welker. He destroyed Stephen Ridley. Patriot fans hated that motherfucker.
It's good recall ability there, Charles. I didn't even
Dude,
remember what it was.
Charles has an elephant memory, man. Especially when it comes to the names of players or the names of actors. I've noticed that.
Yes, but Sue was dirty, though. I mean, I don't recall Vince Wilfork kicking a guy in the nuts or even stomping on a dude's hand. I could have been wrong if Wilfork may have been a bit dirty, but nowhere near as dirty as the Ndamukong Suh. The Ndamukong Suh,
You know who's a really hateable guy with a punchable face? Mac Jones.
oh, absolutely, he's a douchebag.
Yeah. Yeah. Remember he
Corey
kicked that
Dillon
dude?
was a stud. But Curtis, I may do a video on Corey Dillon was drafted in what, 97?
Something like that, man. I thought he was
And Curtis Morton was
excellent
drafted
with the
what, 94,
Bengals.
95?
They
Yeah.
were around the
Curtis Morton
same
was special, man. I loved
2 years.
watching his highlights.
Mhm. Yeah,
Corey
Curtis Morton was
28
Dillon.
special.
and 28 was the number back in the day for running backs. Corey
Yes,
Dillon,
it
Curtis
was.
killing it.
Dude, those were the day. Like seeing Marshall Falk live, like was awesome, man. I got to see a hair of Barry Sanders before he exited.
That's another player I
Um,
wish I watched, Barry Sanders.
I wish he stuck around longer, man. But I get it
I get,
because
you
like
know why he retired? I could tell you one reason. One, he lost passion. Two, because of the bullshit organization, bullshit the Lions were doing.
yeah,
Same thing with
he
Calvin Johnson. Calvin Johnson, one of the greatest wide receivers of all time. He was tired of the bullshit. He plus, he was worried about his health. Football is a dangerous game. No matter how many times people change the rules, people are still gonna get killed. Not literally, but they're still gonna get knocked the fuck out. I mean, but yeah. Um, you good?
yeah. I'm just put there's an extra box to fill, so I figured I'd put some key dates on the screen for the folks. What's your okay? Last question, Charles. We'll get you out of here. I know you're cooking, but favorite number 28 of all time.
Oh, that's easy. Well, number two would be Chris Johnson, that played most of his career with the Tennessee Titans. The Jets kept him on for the 2015 season, but that's none of my business. But number one is Adrian Peterson. He was a bad motherfucker.
That is the number for running backs, man. 28.
That's what I'm saying. It's still my favorite number of all time. If I'm creating
Really?
a on Madden, 28. That's it.
I'm,
But I'm a
I
huge Kurt
never
Warner guy.
really.
My Jets player of all time. So yeah.
I have yet to figure out my favorite NFL number. It's gonna take some time, but I did like 99. You know, J.J. Watt. Um,
I think I like number 1.
or like Cam Newton.
Yeah, or like Sauce.
That's cool.
Well, Charles, you have a good night, okay, brother? And I appreciate you calling in.
Johnny Boy, my favorite number is 69. Johnny Boy. Have a good day, guys.
Hey, later, man.
Yeah, Charles, thanks for coming on, buddy.
Great call out of Charles, man. Great call. Hey, Daniel, do you remember the day that me and you met Snowball live in person? Do you remember that? I was going through my photos earlier today and I stumbled across it. Do you remember this?
I'll have to see. Oh yeah. We because that totally looks like us.
Dude, I fed 2 of our photos in, and I'm like, "Can you put us together?" And this is what it came back with. I'm like, "What the hell is this?" It actually scared me at first. I'm not gonna
Like,
lie, but
Literally 2/3 of the photo was a legitimate photo of 2 people in the same place, and then they just butchered everything. That's
creepy,
hilarious.
man. We'll have to get Snowball on here.
We should have had Snowball come to the NF concert. What the hell were we doing, man?
Bro, we gotta get Link back up. We gotta get Scott Foster, who's hiding from us tonight. We gotta get him. We gotta have some kind of central. New York's not central for us, but maybe the Combine or something in the middle. Maybe Texas. Well, we gotta figure something out. But we do have a caller. And I got beer since you let me slip away for a second. I appreciate you, brother. Because I was nursing 1 since I hit go live. I'm like, oh man, there's gonna be a different vibe.
Yeah.
Another frequenter to the Danger Zone, though, one that always has excellent takes of his own. I think the last one he had was possibly sliding back for some capital and then sending the capital for Olave, if that gives you a hint on who the next guy is. Without further ado, the Wrestling Hour, I believe his show is called. Nick T, what's up, man?
How's it going, guys? How you guys doing? Yeah, the Nick Club Wrestling Happy Hour. Thanks, guys, for having me on.
Yes, sir.
Honestly, first off, I gotta come out. Charles, the right answer is Curtis Martin. The right answer is Curtis Martin.
Yeah.
Just enough there. You're on a Jets show. The right answer is Curtis Martin. No, read the room. Charles, I love you. Learn to read the room.
Good call out because I meant to say that and I'm like, I can't bust him up too bad, but
Yeah. I was like, oh man. And he's like, but like those are good to honestly, like though, to be honest, one of my all-time favorite football players is Adrian Peterson of all time because I like there's very few like I'm not a huge and it's like one of those things that, like I don't know, maybe it's just because like Jets lose so much, you're like, oh, watching the college draft, getting prep for draft. But like, I don't know what it was, but like, I watched Peterson for like at least his last year in college, at the very least, and I remember like, I love this guy. He's phenomenal, and I just remember like, there's nobody like him in it, and I'm gonna follow him. Him and there's a few others, but like one of my other favorites is Mike Evans, and I remember watching him in college. I was like, his quarterback is absolute dog shit, and it's dog shit. And look at what he's doing because he's just throwing them slants and stuff, and he's just taking it, for 15, 20 yards. And that was one of those things that just like I remember. And those are 2 players in college that you just knew were gonna hit. And the fact that like wherever they both went top 10, but like you're like, oh, 7. I think 7 and 9. No, Peterson I think was 7 and I think they might both been 7 and 9, 7 and 9, something like that.
Peterson was electric though. Like he wasn't like the Marshall Faulk that could like just do everything better than anyone, but like running back Peterson is high on the list.
He was oh, and this is gonna get like, especially for like the older, like modern day Jim Brown. That's what I see. Like that's how I view it. Like for like an older fan, if you're talking to a fan of that era, I feel like you'd be like, if you described what you saw from Adrian Peterson in the last, whatever 10 years of his career, whatever, in the prime of his career, they'd say Jim Brown.
Wasn't it like mostly all after an ACL tear too? Like most of his career. Am I wrong
I don't
on
remember
the
an
timing
injury.
of it?
I think he had injuries. He definitely got injured at some point in time, but I don't remember specifically.
Well, he
At
almost
least in
broke the
college.
record rushing yards the year directly after his ACL tear.
What's that? Yeah.
He just
Where did
Someone
broke-
might.
Where was that in his career though? Was it not in the beginning like I was thinking? Must
No,
have been
no. It's
more
like,
in
yeah,
the
it was like
middle.
6, 7. Yeah. Actually, now that you guys are reminding me like too much drinks, but
I
like,
think it was-
yeah, like
I don't think it was right in the beginning, but it was.
One thing
It
I'll
was-
say, man, when it comes to like 200-yard games, I don't know who has the record, but Peterson has to be up there because all the home runs he hit.
Looking up.
it's
2011 is when I retore it, by the way.
it's kind of crazy because he has like I think he's like physically like taller and probably a little bit more like muscular, but like Breece has a similar build because like they're like 6 foot
Mhm.
tall, you know what I mean? Like, and that's kind of like, especially when you see them both run, it's that like lumbering, like it's crazy, but it's like you're just they're blowing by people too.
Don't look
I
like
feel
they're
like
trying.
I compare like Adrian Peterson, like I think he's like just the most athletic running back we've ever seen. I think he's an absolute just specimen. Like I think before him it was like Bo Nix or not Nix, Bo Jackson or something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like just complete athlete. Like probably would be good at anything he ever did. Like that's just one of those guys. That's what I view Adrian Peterson. He was a stud for sure. And I was really hoping Breece would be like that too, because just like you were saying, Nick, like I saw a lot of those similarities. I'm like, hey, they're kind of built the same. They're really fast for their size, like, and I'm like, I'd love to have us an Adrian Peterson on our roster, but then,
Right.
it just hasn't quite materialized.
So we're kind of touching on it. So like this has been the topic they've heard through the grapevine, and I'll be honest, I haven't really gotten too deep into it. So you guys are going to be the first I get really into any of the specifics. So I don't really know about. I've heard there's rumors about Breece being traded, and there's those thoughts. Don't know what the value is for him at this point, and what could we get? What is the highest? Like, what is the ceiling value for him at this point, and is it beneficial? Because there's a lot of question marks, right? Like, if we're going to be a running offense, it doesn't make sense to move on from that. But if you're going to use like a whole committee approach, it's not, you're only sacrificing 5 to 10 carries in theory. So
True, and that's the thing. Like we don't have any sort of value or offer to gauge it on. It's just like what we feel and what we think. Denver is rumored to be interested, but like you have to factor in the dude this is his final year. He has been spotty. Throughout the first 3 years, whether it be health or whether it be production. He's an asset to me when used properly. If nobody's trading for him to use him like he was used last year, that's I think a lot of fans that are stuck. They're like, we're not going to get anything for Breece. Well, yeah, not if you try to use him like that. If you use him the way it should be, even if it's not running up the A gap, which he's terrible at, by the way, but it's like as a gadget, or you get him in space. Like imagine what Detroit did with Breece.
yeah,
For that, I do think you can get a day 2 pick for him, but like, is he signing a deal when he's going over? and what's that deal look like? What I'm trying to say
Well,
is there is value. What it is, I don't know, but
look at
I
McCaffrey. McCaffrey's San Francisco deal is probably not, and it's probably quite similar because, like, look at his numbers in Carolina. It's probably pretty close. I, I,
ooh,
I mean, again,
I
just
don't
just
know.
on off my top of my head, I wouldn't be shocked if Breece actually had better numbers than him.
I mean, Breece has never hit 1,000 though.
But collective, like total yardage, maybe not.
True.
Like
Yeah,
Breece might have more rushing yards, McCaffrey might have more receiving yards in that time frame, but like first 3 years or whatever it is in uniform, maybe not. I don't know. I probably
I
not as much as McCaffrey, more than likely not. But even that gives you the barometer. So McCaffrey, I think, went for like a 3 and 6, whatever it was. But like it was a mid. It was 2 mid-round picks. It was like a high.
but you also turn around and McCaffrey's making like 16 mil a year. I don't think Breece would command that.
No.
So like to be honest, I think you can get Breece for if you sign him today, close to 10 mil. I don't know if he's willing to sign today. What if he wants to play this year out because he thinks that it was Keith Carter and it was, it's a whole animal, man. But regardless of his contract, regardless of who wants him, like what would it take for you to say I'm not even gonna like I don't want to see what he does with Aaron Glenn and Engstrand. I'll just assume that the value is correct. What would the draft package have to look like?
Like he was drafted in the second round, so at the very least a 2. I think a 2 is fair, but like more than likely, I think teams are going to offer like a 3-6, like some mediocre deal like that. And the question is like, yeah, like to your point, like, do you want to sacrifice 1 year of him potentially running hard? But was he running hard last year? And like, would he do that? And you're just getting a mediocre effort from him throughout the year. So it's tough because yeah, like he'll probably go somewhere else. You trade him somewhere else. He's motivated. Then he goes out and has like his first 1,000 yard year, and 800 yards receiving or something crazy.
So to hedge your bet, that's where I'm like, okay, why don't we run them hard for 6 weeks and then decide? Because then you have more intel. But I don't know. Then you can't use the draft picks this year for one. You can't replace him immediately. I
Right.
mean, you still can, but like um, this running back crop in this draft is very nice. So I'm almost to the point where it's like just draft one, maybe not
But
in the
also
first. You know,
the factor too is like you're also going to have like potentially 1 to 5 to 7 carries from Justin Fields. So like that is another like at the end of the day, like it's still a math equation, regardless of how you look at it. Like the game only has so much time. You only have so many, possessions and plays that you can make. So even in a perfect game where you're winning the game, what, 60 plays offensively, maybe if you're at that, but like most likely 50 to 55. So in the structure of what is established, they're going to run the ball probably 60% of the time. So that's 30 out of the 50 plays. So that leaves 10, 10, 10, however you want to distribute it. And if Fields gets 3 to 5 of the carries, maybe Isaiah Davis gets 5 to 10, 10 of the, like they can just redistribute it however they want. Same thing goes, and this is something that I think a lot of people maybe like don't speak about enough, is that the Garrett Wilson situation is like, if you're going to throw the ball only 20 times, Garrett Wilson's going to get 10 to 15 of those targets. So that means that, Josh Reynolds, if he's not likely to be here, but Alan Lazard, Corley, whoever it is, only has to constitute that other 10 pass attempts. So we just need some sure-handed guys. So we're not necessarily looking for, like, I get it, like the Ted McMillans of the world and having elite 1s and 2s is great, but again, there's only one ball to throw around.
yeah, true. And how much are you drafting for this year and next, like versus long term? That comes into play? To be honest, though, back to Breece, like I get what you're saying. We're only going to be running it so much. Fields is going to command touches. Glenn spoke about Isaiah Davis and Braylon Allen both commanding touches. You said it could be a committee, but whether I keep like if I'm keeping Breece, whether it's just for this year or long term, it's not to be running up the middle. So, like, I don't think that Breece's touches for me would come away from Fields, Allen's, and Davis's, in my opinion. I think it would be more like a gadget. It would come away from the tight end, from the wide receiver two to the slot man. That's just my
Well,
opinion. Daniel, what do
also,
you think?
well,
Go ahead.
Corley too. Yeah, sorry.
Corley is a great example because he's a weapon guy. Daniel, though, we haven't heard from you. What do you think about like usage when it comes to Breece and basically the whole we spoke about what your bottom line was as far as trade comp package. Nick wasn't here for that though, so what do you think about a third rounder and talk to me.
Yeah, I think you need a top 50 guy, like a top 50 pick for Breece. Like I think Nick was on a similar level with me. If there's anything below that, if there's a second round that's probably going to be below that, like you mentioned earlier, Dane, like the Chiefs or whatever, then they got to give me more. They got to give me a second and a fourth or whatever it may be. If we're keeping Breece this year, he's definitely got to be your main like pass catching back. He's got to be like your, I don't want to call him like your scat back because he's not a scat back, but like he can kind of fill that role, where Braylon can do your up the middle, just grinding yardage type, stuff. The thing I want to ask you guys, how on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being just infuriated, and 1 being nice and peaceful and calm about it. If we trade Breece away for a second round pick and then turn around and draft Ashton Genty at 7, how upset are we?
I'm pissed.
With a second rounder, I'm not.
How pissed? 1 to 5.
Furious. 5.
5.
Because if I'm trading Breece, I'm using that pick, and I'm like a truther about this, but like I'm using the second round pick on a quarterback, and it's either Jackson Dart or McCord that I'm taking in the second round. So I don't care about the running back because I'm just doing running back by committee this year with Justin Fields and the 2 running backs. The first round pick to me needs to be offensive or defensive line. It has to be. It's either Membu, because I think he's going to be there. I don't like what's his name, Campbell from LSU. I think he's a guard. I think he's going to be a big bust at least at any tackle position.
But then you got 2 second rounders.
Yeah, but using a first round pick on a running back, especially top 10, hell no, not doing that. I'd rather. And here's the thing. Here's the ultimate.
This is coming from the guy that was just giving a lot of Adrian Peterson love a little bit ago, wasn't he? So,
yeah.
What if
Here's
Genty is? I mean, he is a specimen. Have you seen that guy?
Nope. No, because here's why. You cannot run the football from the ground. I don't care how good you are. Barry Sanders had to make 7 people miss just to get anywhere. If he had the line that Emmitt Smith had, Barry Sanders would have ran for probably 20,000 yards in his career.
Well, hold on. Our line is not that bad.
No, but it can be even like the way this line, it's not bad, but it's not elite by any stretch. And you can add a bookend tackle like Membu, who can move the chains and be what I thought, to be honest, that Becton should have been at right tackle and just bulldoze people over. It changes the whole complexion of that line. Remember how this team was with Sanchez running the football. That whole ground and pound. You can do tremendous things if you could just run the football. And it's a big miss. I don't care who your running back is. If you have the line, you'll still run the ball 4 yards per pop.
Okay, Dane, how pissed are you, and why?
Genty is the exception for me. He's the only guy that would stop me from being pissed because, dude, he's so electric. It would honestly interest me in 2025 in a way that I won't be otherwise. And I would tell myself that he's our Jahmyr Gibbs, even though I know he's not going to be. But a guy like that with Braylon Allen and what I think Braylon could become would be the best tandem in football. It would. And without Keith Carter, like I could sell myself on that, but we would need to use the second round picks that you spoke of, like pick 42. And I'm hoping that your second is a decent second and use them on, at minimum, a right tackle and a pass catcher of some sort. And then in the third round, I would need interior defensive line. And then the collection of what I have there is pretty good. It's just allocated. It's a way I didn't expect. But then we're not dealing with, like, our running backs are here for the next 3 years together. And I like that. I like it a lot.
I want to go back to that. I knew you were going to be like, wait a second, you say I can save money? I knew Dane was going to the money.
Dude. But aside from everything, look at that room. Would you be confident in a room that's outside of everything else, value, money, usage? Just look at the skill set. What do you think of Genty, Braylon Allen, Isaiah Davis forming a three-headed monster?
I think they'd form a great three-headed monster in practice.
I'm not gonna lie. I don't know if it's that much better than Breece, Braylon, and Davis. That might be a hot take. I like Genty. I really like Genty as a prospect, but I don't know that he's that much more talented than Breece. To me, Breece has got it's something in his head because he's doing things that he didn't do before. Like
here's my question:
straight into the backs alignment and stuff. Like I don't think that I think that it's fixable. You know, we go back to this coaching thing. We keep talking about Glenn. He says he's going to coach these guys up. Well, if he can coach that shit out of Breece, Breece can go back to, rookie year Breece where he looked like he was going to light the league on fire, you know? So I don't know. I like Genty. I like Genty a lot as a prospect, but I don't know that it's that much better.
I just think the value at running back is like at the end of the day, who makes the holes for the running back? Like, I don't care. Most running backs are not going to make more than one, maybe two people miss. So if you're doing that in the backfield, you're still only getting a yard max. Yard, 2 yards
max. Do you
max.
think one lineman really changes it that much, though?
A lineman we can take on day 2.
We have 4 out of the 5 starters set.
No, but I think an elite lineman can, and that's at the left side of the line you have Olu. Olu's the perfect left tackle because he's a pass protecting, athletic left tackle. On the right side, as you build towards the right side of the line is the running side of the line. So with AVT at right guard, very athletic, can move the ball. It reminds me of like a lot of Randy Thomas back in the day. Very similar body type, like does that. Tippmann's not great, but he's above average at center. Simpson's good to above average at guard. So if you put it's the unit as a whole. So you complete the unit, and this guy is big enough that he's going to bulldoze people, and that's what you need on the right side. So I don't want to take a risk. Like, I'd rather just set the line with the first round pick than, oh, well, let's hope that one of the 6th or 7th or 8th or all right, whatever, 4th to 8th best lineman falls to us in round 2 with that extra pick that we just gave up. It's too much of a risk. Just take one of the top 3 linemen and plug it, and you're done. You have the top 2 of last year, right? Top 2 at least of left tackle, offensive tackle in last year's draft, and then this year you'll get a top 3 tackle at least at right tackle. So your tackles are bookended. You already have your guard set and your center. Their whole line is set. So it doesn't matter who the running back is. Those guys, if they work together as a unit, which is really what this sport is all about at the end of the day, they'll move the pile, and whoever's running behind them will at least get 3, 4, 5 yards.
Can I ask a question, though? If you take our roster as currently constructed, Breece Hall, Braylon, Isaiah Davis, Garrett Wilson, all of them, who are you confident can hit a home run even half as good as Genty can?
Breece.
Yeah, but you're talking about who's the fastest?
I mean, I haven't seen Breece hit a homer in like 3 years, man.
Yeah, but
he's only played for 3 years. What are you talking about?
I'm just saying, man. He had one last year, and he fucking got caught from behind. Or like
Denver.
Denver
Was the last one he had. Denver when he got injured.
Last year looked rough, but the year before, do you remember the Giants game where they literally dumped it off to him and he just took it all the way to the house? Like, that was back when he, whenever Nathaniel Hackett realized that he could catch balls.
Wasn't that one with the flag, though? Was that the one?
I mean, you get my point, though. Like, we need juice. And I'm not saying it has to be Genty, but he would give us something we don't currently have, including Breece, in my opinion.
I agree. 40. I'm sorry, Nick.
No, go ahead.
Curious.
He had no reason. Yeah.
He didn't run the 40. Well, I know Breece ran a 4.38 or 3.9. I don't know that Genty's beaten that. I don't think Genty's as fast as Breece. Not that that's everything when it comes to hitting a home run. I understand there's a lot of vision. And
I think we're missing the big picture here, though. The big picture and maybe this is just generalizing things, but like the big picture is that the home runs happen based off the scheme and the play design and everything else. I don't think it necessarily matters if Breece, like, again, I get it. You're more likely to have a home run play with Breece Hall or Devontae Adams or whoever, name X player. I get that because physically their ability will enable that a little bit more than others. But at the end of the day, it's still the scheme. If you are running the ball 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times down someone's throat, right? And you get to midfield and they realize you're running down my throat every time. And they stack the box with 8 guys and you do a play action pass and you go deep and you throw a 50-yard bomb to Alan Lazard and he catches a touchdown. It's still a touchdown. And that's at the end of the day, like, we look at this and I hate to say it and I hate to keep bringing this up because I love the Jets just as much as you guys, but one of the biggest dynasties in all of football in the last 20 years has been New England, and it's just been system-based. And that's, at the end of the day, it all comes down to coaching and the scheme of what's built. And it doesn't matter.
I'm gonna stop you. I'm gonna stop you right there. You said it's system-based. I say it's Tom Brady-based.
No, because
he won a Super Bowl adults right after. don't
using the same system.
The same system? Bruce Arians runs the same system?
He brought in all of his players to run the system.
He brought in Gronk. That's it.
He brought in Gronk and Antonio Brown later. Like, he started bringing all of his guys, dude. Like, he told him what linemen to bring in. He was bringing Shaq Mason. Like, all those guys were coming into his scheme. So, like, Jensen, he told him, these are the lines. It was all system-based, West Coast system, just quick slants, curls, those. That's all it is. And it's just stop and goes. And then eventually, just like everything else, just like running the ball, you bite because you come up because you can't stop the run or you can't do whatever it is. You can't stop the quick pass. And all of a sudden, it's a double move and it's a 30-yard touchdown. Tom Brady wasn't throwing 60-yard bombs. It was all 30-yard touchdowns because they got inside the cusp of the red zone. Not really the red zone because everyone thought it was bigger plays than it was. But that's what it is. You just take death by 1,000 cuts. That's all it was. Same thing with Peyton Manning the last year of his career.
Yeah, but not every quarterback can do that, is what I'm saying.
Aaron Rodgers, case in point. He couldn't do it. That's exactly what we were hoping.
I'm just saying that Brady was the biggest catalyst in that. Like, it's not the scheme as much because they would have continued to have that success after Brady left. They had one half decent year after he left, and that was it.
So what I'm saying to you, though, is the point that I'm making is just about Tom Brady, right? Is Tom Brady Lamar Jackson?
No.
Exactly. And athletic ability didn't necessarily matter to him because he fit the scheme and he was smart enough to adapt the scheme to his body type. And that's the point, is that you don't need elite athletes if you have the right scheme and the people that fit the scheme.
But do you think whether we take a right tackle at 7 versus at 42 is that much of a difference? Because I think it is a huge difference. I don't think it's like I'm willing to do it if it means I not only improve my RB1, but I get him for 4 years, 5 years for cheap. And I get what you're saying about Genty too. Like, build the O line and the RB won't matter, but and RBs are like, he's the one guy I think is O line proof. The one guy. I mean, he played
Oh,
against
what did he do? All right.
when he played Penn State, he broke 33 tackles, 21 behind the line of scrimmage.
How many yards did he have though in that game?
Easy.
He had over 100.
Yeah, but
He's
Wait.
a bowling ball.
that's what I was trying
I
to
didn't
find.
know that stat. That's crazy.
What were his college like football playoff stats? Because to your point, right? Just hear me out on this, and this is but like if he's so good and he can break so many tackles, then you should have led your team to a national championship. You're that good of a running back. I don't care how good your offensive line is, right? Then offensive line doesn't matter.
You need a defense too.
All right,
He
all right.
almost single-handedly beat Oregon, and Oregon
Okay.
started the season 13-0.
Oh no. All right, so all right, prove me wrong. I'm just saying. Let's throw it. Let's do the test. Did their offense? Now again, maybe it's not. But like, what was his yards per carry? So like, if he had like 15 carries and he had 4 yards, then maybe you could say, yeah, if they kept running the ball, they would have won the ball. But like, would he have led them if they'd stuck with Ashton Jeanty? I'm just saying, if they ran the ball 35 times straight, would they have led? Would that have led them to a college football national championship?
Yeah, that. I think we need a whole another live stream for this.
Not in the past.
But I'm
yeah.
putting some pressure on you guys because listen, if he's that good of a running back, then to your point, offensive line doesn't matter. Then he would have ran his way to a national championship on his own.
If all I'm saying though is if you could take a right tackle in the second round versus the first, if you get him, it's not that. You see what I'm saying? Like that, I wouldn't do it. Don't get me wrong, I wouldn't do it. But he is the one exception where it actually you could come out smelling like roses if you did that.
I just don't think any running back is worth the first round. I really don't.
There's
Unless you have an elite
difference.
offensive line, it's not worth it. Like
There's
the Dallas Cowboys years ago.
There's a big difference between being an impact player that can help you get a couple more wins on the season and being a player that completely takes a team and wins a championship by themselves. Like, that's a huge, I feel like you really stretch that out there a little bit. Like, Dane is arguing that he's such an impactful player that he can affect a game, right? He's not saying that he's the only part of the game and he's going to do it no matter what and this and that. Dane is, I don't want to speak for you, Dane, but like, I'm thinking that Dane's context is like, hey, we have 4 out of 5 offensive linemen, and I'm considering drafting one at 42 that could just as well be a stud as well, plus a running back that is as talented as they come, that can be an impact player. So I think that's where the difference in thought process is.
Plus, that's the only time I've heard us getting a 2 for Breece. So whatever we need to do to get a second for Breece, I'll take it.
Seriously, honestly, like, because I agree, because I agree for different reasons, but like I think it makes it because like again, the league to me, you can do the running back by committee and still win. Like, look at Kansas City for the last X amount of years. Like, Pacheco's great, but like he's still to some extent part of a committee. So like
it helps having Patrick Mahomes a quarterback.
No, he does. Yeah, but for his 10 to 15 carries a game, just like, Kareem Hunt or whoever else they bring in gets their 5 to 6, and that's the whole point. It's the game flow of how they script it, and it's the coaching and the scheme. So, and that's kind of my point. Is like, if we get an extra 2, I want to use that on a position that's potentially going to be franchise. I want to use that on a quarterback, and I'm hoping in the second round. I really love Jackson Dart. I don't think he's making it to the second round. I have this weird feeling Pittsburgh's taking him in the first round.
I mean, I've heard that. I have heard that. So I don't think it would. I don't think it would be weird, man. I really don't. Especially with the Rodgers shit they're dealing with. Like, it sounds like they could care, like, show up for camp or don't. And if you're telling us that, I feel like you have a plan B that's pretty strong. But hey, anything can happen. I've seen Dart go higher than that, which is crazy.
I did have a question I wanted to run by the guys. We'll get off of the Breece topic because I think we've touched it all. I get what you're saying, Nick. Like, dude, if you watch the show, which I know you have, I'm a big eat your veggies guy in the draft. I would love the idea. If we took Membu, you would not hear a complaint out of me because I would love the idea of having like 3 or 4 first round offensive linemen just completely dominating the trenches. I love the thought of that. So, and the scheme is super important, but right now we have no fucking clue if Engstrom knows what he's doing or not. And I hope he does. But moving on from the Breece, the run game, the scheming talk, I wanted to ask, we're getting close to the draft. We've got just a few weeks left. We've done a little bit in free agency, a little underwhelming, I think most people would say. Is there just any position, one position that you feel like you absolutely need to shore up before we get to the draft? And what is it?
I mean, I'm always going to say line because I just think everything starts there. So, like, but like, because to me, it's like, what's his name? The kid from, I always forget his name now. The kid from Michigan, I love the D tackle.
Graham or
Yeah,
Grant?
Graham. Yeah, Graham. I love him. I like Membu a lot. And to me, it's those two at 7 are the primary guys, unless someone weird falls that shouldn't be there, like I don't know, Abdul Carter or like Hunter or something like that, which I can't see happening. But to me, it's always the line. Like you can get a premier player on the line, and if you see like, it kills me because what was it, 4 or 5 years ago, whatever it was, the Zach Wilson draft. At the time, like, I get it. He wasn't performing. Sam Darnold was, and it's still like, to his point, like Sam Darnold's probably not going to be a Super Bowl winning quarterback. He had the greatest team he would probably ever have last year, and he still bottomed out in the first round of the playoffs, right? So hindsight, it still looked kind of dumb, but like Penei Sewell was the pick to make. And that I thought for me, because even coming out, people said for years he was the best lineman. Like he was the best offensive tackle prospect to come out. He was potentially a generational talent. And like, I still believe that. Yeah, like Zach Martin, same. Yeah, exactly. Same thing. It's just like they fall to the mid first round. You're like, what the hell are you doing to letting this guy? And then years later, people are like, how did this guy get to like 13, 14, whatever it was? And that's kind of what I think about. It's like, where would we be if we had that line, and like, look at what DeBrickashaw and Mangold did for us for how many years and how much did that change things. So I'm still always going to be like going back to that philosophy of the line still rules all, and it still shows.
Can I ask a follow-up question? You said Membu or Graham. I don't think Shador is going top 3. So that creates a domino for me. And I think that means Carter and Hunter are both gone before New England, which pushes New England to take a tackle. And I think that's Membu. And then on the other note, I think this is a generational interior defensive line draft. So I have a hard time taking Graham because then when you see all the mocks and at 42, you can
Right.
get great. So do either of those scenarios scare you at all for a Murphh or a Graham at 7?
That Shador falls.
That Murph's not there,
Uh,
or that you're not really maximizing the pick by taking Graham when you can trade up a little bit and get Grant, his teammate, and who's
No.
a better fit. Or where are you at with
No, not
either
with
of
the
those?
Graham thing. No, because I think if you pair Graham with Quinnen, you're set at the defensive line. Because those two, even if Graham's like mediocre at best, I think he's a run stuffing stud at the very least. And he just looks like he beats blocks, and he just, at least from the little bit that I've seen, again, maybe I haven't studied as much film as you guys, but like the little bit that I've seen, it seems like he beats block. And pairing him next to Quinnen, I think you have him, Quinnen, Will, Jermaine hopefully comes back healthy, and that defensive line is set. So like I'd be okay with that pick there. Yeah,
If Membu's gone, are you taking Campbell?
no, because I don't love, to me, and I'm not big on measurables too much, other than like certain positions, but like he seems to have short arm. He doesn't seem like a tackle. He seems like a guard. Everything about him, he seems very athletic. Like he seems like a really good guard, but he doesn't seem like a tackle to me. So I wouldn't want to use a seventh overall pick on a guard, unless you're like unless you're telling me like it's Zach Martin.
Yeah, and I do agree with that. If you got a Zach Martin in the draft, you take him. Graham, I will say he's not a run stuffer. He's a good lineman. He's a good DT. Based on everything I've read about him from people watching the film, the little bit of film I've watched, he's a burst through the line, get to the quarterback type guy. Like you're almost doubling down on Quinnen Williams. You know what I mean? Like you have two Quinnens almost in a sense. Although I think Quinnen's probably better against the run than Graham is, to be honest. I don't know if that's a hot take or not. Probably not. So that's why I'm a little less on Graham. I think he's a good prospect. I do.
What's his size?
I don't think that he's a fit for this team. I don't even is he even 300 pounds? Was he like 294 or something?
See, the problem is he and Quinnen both play 3-tech. Like, I would almost rather have Kenneth Grant, to be honest. But hey, if our coaching staff thinks they can, if they take Graham, we know that they think they can make it work, or they have another idea, Quinnen, which, if you watch the show right before ours, they were talking about how we should trade Quinnen, and I'm not there. I can tell you that. But
okay.
If they take Graham,
at the combine, Mason Graham was 296. He wasn't even 300 pounds. They listed him at Michigan at 320, but those colleges always overinflate the players' actual
I mean, to be fair, if you could play, you could play. It doesn't matter your size. But like, I guess the question is like, how does he grade out as a like maybe there's not on the highlights. I don't know what is like if they have college PFF, but like what that grade is, I'd be curious to know. Like, how does he grade out on that end? Because it's like the offensive and defensive lines. Here's the thing, it's a unit. At the end of the day, it's still a unit. You're running stunts. You're running like all these different schemes to get everyone open, and it's not necessarily like, yes, you can have the Myles Garretts of the world that just dominate everybody, but like we were talking about earlier, it's still a scheme. So like, I wonder if it's something that can be adapted to what's there. Like, I don't know what his actual numbers are. Like, again, how he grades out with PFF and things like that. I don't know if they do NCAA, but like they probably do. But
his analytics are good. He has, as far as analytics are concerned, he's top tier.
Yeah, like I don't know. It's just like, to me, I always view both units like just as a whole. So how, like, what's the chemistry of them? Like, people didn't think necessarily Will McDonald was going to have a breakout year, but that was the scheme that he had, and he had 10, 11 sacks. So the wide 9 worked out for him. Now this year, I hope he translate that to the new unit, but like it may not. He may come down more to earth because of the scheme that we're using. Like if he's a 3-4 outside linebacker per se, he's probably not going to get as many sacks.
Well, what do you say, just to play devil's advocate, what do you say to the take of this is a defensive coaching staff? They shouldn't need even more premium assets poured into the defense. We need playmakers, like JD is saying here. How do you refute that?
Playmakers made by the system. Look at Malcolm Butler in New England. Like, how many people got paid from the system that was in New England because of the fact that like all those corners that were playing it there, the Asante Samuels of the world that got paid to leave there and couldn't play in that same scheme. I think the system makes who you have. Like, yeah, you need some talent, and like the system will make an elite player, but it's still the system and the scheme at the end of the day.
Are you more confident in the offensive system we're installing or the defense?
Well, yeah, I mean, Glenn's a defensive coach. He's a cornerback. So I think the defensive backfield will be really good. But the question is, actually, what would be nice is like, not to sound bad, but like, I think if we start to see him have that approach that like, hey, I'm taking more of a side in the offensive side of the football, like more of investment in the offensive, then yeah, I'd be okay if the defensive backfield is not doing as well. Like, and the team's winning games and then they're ranked whatever it is, 20th in defensive back, efficiency, whatever the category is. Like, okay, you're winning games. That's the point of the head coach. So like, I think we have a good coaching staff in place. Like what Chris Harris is our defensive back coach. I think he's a pretty good, as someone who had success in the league, right? So hopefully he can bestow some of that onto the group. So I'm hoping that Parcells' philosophy of trusting his guys and hiring the right people will, by osmosis, just, triculate down to the team. Like we've been winning the offseason for how many years? This year it's been kind of a quiet offseason. Let's go out and win 9 or 10 games and just shut everybody up.
And you know what? If we went and we got a Graham, dude, you know what I'd like to see? Let's go sign Keenan Allen and draft a wide receiver on day 2. And hey, the offense looks a hell of a lot better. Just real quick before we let you go, Nick, your number one favorite, I know we talked about it just now, but you got to pick one. Favorite selection at 7, and then your number one worst case scenario selection at 7.
Best case, like, I mean, if like, I think Hunter's probably the best player in the draft. So like, if he somehow fell 7 or like, that'd be crazy. But like, I don't think he's going to be there, but like, that would be like the best case because he's just a crazy talent. And I think putting him on any side of the ball, I think he's the best player in the draft. But for me, them taking Membu at 7, filling out the line would be perfect. Worst case scenario, Shedeur. I don't want Shedeur at all. He is Tyrod Taylor, and he might even be Tyrod Taylor light. And let the Giants take him, please. I would love the Giants to just take him at 3, and like take him over like just let the Giants take him over like Travis Hunter or somebody else, like some elite level talent, and just deal with that circus for a year or 2, like really 2 years, and at least, and let us just fly below the radar for the next 2-3 years. And I'm telling you, there's something to that. Just being able to not be in the limelight and just fly below the radar.
Silence. Move in silence. Glenn said it, man. That's a great quote too. Yeah, move in silence.
Exactly.
Nick, you want to plug your channel? I know you have before, but we have a different audience every week, so let them know.
No. Thanks for having me. It's my channel, Nick Teodoro. It's a Nick T Wrestling Happy Hour. We just do wrestling Friday nights at 6 before Dayno does his awesome Jet show. So thanks for having me, guys. Pleasure as always. And like, yeah, I'm gonna move in silent tonight here.
Later, brother.
Thanks, Nick. Appreciate you
Nick,
coming on. Bud.
call in maybe right before the draft and let us know if your take changed at all. And I mean, everybody that calls in, I want to hear from you after the draft as well. We'll be streaming for the draft. Friday night means rounds 2 and 3. We're going to have right here, guys. We'll probably be on the other rounds too, but like we'll really put our investment into rounds 2 and 3. So you can find us here. We're working on guests too, right, Daniel? Don't tell them too much, but we are working on guests.
Gonna lay some sprinkles out there for that. But Dane, I am not going to let you go. You somehow got away from answering my question earlier. I would like to know who, or well, is there a position that you feel like we need to fill before the draft ever even comes around? And if so, what is it?
Honestly, I think. Well, let me think for a second. I I would say the biggest need would be a pass catcher, and I know that's not a position; it's a skill set. But we can't just like I said, Keenan Allen's out there, man, and by now, the longer you wait, the cheaper he gets. I would I would kick the tires on Keenan Allen, but I don't want to feel like we need, like, if we don't take a wide receiver in the first, going into the second, everybody's going to be looking at our depth chart saying, 42, these guys are taking a pass catcher. That's what I don't want. And right now, the way the depth chart is, if we were to take Mason Graham or whoever, Membu, they're going to telegraph us. So I would like to see Reynolds, like I said, brought up the floor. I would like one more guy. There are guys out there, even if it's a tight end or I don't know, because I'm still holding out hope that Corley turns into something. So if maybe it should be a tight end. I do want to double dip at tight end, but you don't want to be forced to. And right now, we are forced to take 2 tight ends. We're forced to take at least a receiver. Like, you need 3 of both positions, 3 total. Let's trim that down to 2, and if we want to take a third, we can. So, pass catcher, whether it's out wide or in the slot or in line even.
I guess there's a reason why we do a show together, Dane. I thought for sure I would bait you. I thought, especially when Nick was on here, he would be talking right tackle, defensive tackle. Um, I thought I was going to be the dude that's like, what are you talking about? We need a fucking receiver. That's you
The
beat
chat,
me to it. Okay.
the,
And
the chat
you even
reminded me.
topped me with it by just calling it pass catcher, because that's right, dude. Because if you solidify tight end, if you get another guy in that room, then that opens up more draft capital for receivers. So yeah, but to me, like you said, you need 3 in the 2 positions. Yeah, that makes sense. I would be happy you bring Keenan Allen in or Tyler Lockett,
Yeah.
and then draft a guy in the 3rd round as well or something. You know what I mean? That would be for me, but
You know what
definitely
else?
catcher.
Let,
We gotta address it.
and on the line, if it wasn't for that versatility, I would be a little more scared. But like, theoretically, Myers at center, Tippmann at guard, AVT at right tackle is not the worst. It's not the worst half of an O line in the league. So if it was, or if I didn't think, hey, we could go take the best center in the draft and still have an elite O line, we could. We could go take the best guard in the draft after round 1, still have an elite O line. That dampens the pressure for me. Pass catcher, not so much.
Am I crazy in thinking that even if Okorafor, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, is like, if that's our starting right tackle, that we could still have a top 12 offensive line. Am I crazy?
No, you're not, because like, well, I mean, AVT's ceiling and Titman's ceiling, Simpson being Simpson, Fashanu being Fashanu. The only time I get scared is like AVT injuries. Fashanu, dude, he left the season hurt. Simpson, he's pushing 30. So like, could it happen? Yes, but like you don't want to bank on it, obviously. But like if everybody was working at their ceiling, our what we need at right tackle is not premium. Like it's not necessary. That's all.
Yeah. I feel like you could get away a year with a core four at right tackle.
I'm more worried about AVT and Simpson and keeping them long term than I am about finding a new guy for right tackle. And that might be a hot take or it might be stupid, but we have both guards entering the final year of their deal. Both of them I want to keep. One of them I want to keep for another decade.
Yeah. Yeah. I honestly, dude, I know the money starts getting tight whenever because you're like, oh, re-sign this guy, extend that guy, re-sign that guy. You know what I mean? I try not to get too heavy into like, hey, we need to re-sign everybody because I know it's just not feasible at some point. But I do like ABT, man. Like I wouldn't be upset. Like, and at this point, I don't think he's commanding top dollar. So I think that like, you could get him on a mid-tier deal, like a mid-tier starting guard deal right now. I would not be upset about, like re-signing him,
No. Well,
because
and
the thing
we
is
were
he fits
worried.
the culture too, you know?
He'll do anything, man. Well, the other thing is too, like I think even myself included, we were all so convinced that all of our core four would command top of the market, and then you add AVT would be 20 million a year, bro. I outside of Sauce, I don't think anyone's top of the market. So does that mean you can keep one extra, two extra guys? Like Jermaine, you can't argue the money. If you asked me a year ago what I thought Jermaine would command and what I think now, it changed. Breece changed. AVT about stayed the same. But like none of these guys, maybe we can keep most of them. Um, we're getting to the time of the night, Daniel, where like we shouldn't have broke the seal, so like we got to skate away. You know what we need? We need a new, fresh voice to add to the mix. What do you think?
Sure. Depends on who it is.
Oh yeah, yeah. Without further ado, it is Alan Avett. No, I'm just kidding. Johnny boy.
Oh, not this guy.
What's up, dude?
What's
Oh,
going
you
on?
know, living the dream, just chilling. Just put the kids down. So I was like, yo, let me get on it real quick with the guys.
Your mic is sounding sultry.
Yo, this new earphones that I got, like it plays one of you guys on the left and then it plays the other voice on the right. And it like trips me out. So if like Murph's not talking, it goes silent. But then once he talks, it cancels the other one out. It's tripping me out right now. Because I keep messing with it thinking that it's my earphones.
I,
And
I I think it has to do with our mics as well. Like I think that happened to Dom C one night when he came on. Like because I have a new mic and it's not USB. USB will play it both ways. But if you
yeah.
have like Snowball has and I have the condenser mics, it can be one and not the other. It can trip you out, man. I really gotta pee though. Can you hold down the fort?
I'll
Yeah.
try.
Yeah. So basically what you're saying is me and Dane need to start talking over each other and really fuck with your equilibrium.
Pretty much. Pretty
Yeah.
much.
So that's what. Hey, so guys, if you didn't catch it earlier, Johnny and Snowball, Jets Worldwide, they had New York Daily Times. I'm not sure if that's the right name of it. Beat reporter Antoine Staley, really cool guy, really chill guy. probably the chillest of the beat reporters. Honest to God, like he's always a cool guy. But they had him on earlier for half hour, 45 minutes. Good time. Got to know his backstory a little bit. Got some insights on what's going on with the Jets and maybe his opinions on things. So if you didn't catch it earlier, get to it later on. Rewatch that shit because it was a good watch. Johnny's always doing good work, getting good guests on and stuff like that. So how was that, Johnny? How'd you feel about that show, man?
It was cool. We were, I mean, you kind of know, Murph, how myself and Snowball kind of work. We try to essentially go at it in a different type of style, and we really wanted to get to know Antoine Staley, the person, the human, instead of the Jets beat reporter, right? And just kind of we wanted to know how he got to there. What did it take? Is there a pecking order when you're at these like press conferences? Does Rich Cimini go there first because he's a guy that's been on there, and he pretty much told us, nah. He's like, it's the luck of the draw. It's like whoever's there, we have no idea who we're gonna talk to at times, So which I thought it was pretty cool. Kind of gave us some insight on some of the issues, not issues within the locker room, but issues in regards with a player he had a little bit of a beef with, which I thought it was cool. He didn't give no names, of course, but I thought that was insightful as well, and kind of just what it took for him to be at the position that he's at right now as well. So I thought that was pretty dope.
Yeah, yeah. It's always interesting to see somebody that kind of has the viewpoint of actually being in there, and doing the thing. So Johnny, I'm going to hit you with a question that I absolutely made Dane answer, and I had Nick answer earlier too. If there's a position going into the draft that you feel like we need to bring somebody in to solidify before the draft, if there is a position, and if there is, what is it?
I mean, off the top of my head, I probably would go because who is our wide receiver two? So I would probably say a wide receiver prior to the draft. That's where my head would go first. I would say there's nothing. I mean, there's some guys out there. I hate saying that there's really not because there is some potential guys, and the more and more it gets closer and closer to the season itself, the stock is going down on how much they're going to get paid for. So potentially, but the guy that I think of is he still hasn't been signed is Keenan Allen. I wouldn't mind him as a wide receiver too if he's there and the money makes sense. I'm not. Uh, yeah, wide receiver. I would say somebody that's going to catch the ball, essentially, right, and that knows is going to be WR2 and not give any issues to Garrett Wilson to be one.
Okay, so you're finally on the board of kicking Lazard out of the fucking building.
Nah, he's wide
What?
receiver. Well, he's wide receiver 3 or 4, man.
Wide receiver 7 or 8? Is that what you said? Wide receiver -1.
Hey, man, he's probably going to be a really good. I mean, they said it. They said it. They said they're reworking his contract. So let's see
what good hacky sacker. It's fluid, okay.
Yeah, take pennies, Lazard, or hit the road. Nah, hey, he could stay, but he's not staying at what he's getting. I think he's getting like 13 mil. It's like double what Garrett's getting. Come on, bro.
True that. It's wild, man. But did you guys already talk about the Breece Hall conversation?
Yeah, it got a little crazy for a minute. Can you give us your take, because we kind of fleshed out our whole own. Tell us what you think, man.
I mean, you kind of know, Dayno. You've heard me and Murph as well, but dude, if somebody comes up and is like a potential third, a third rounder or a second, I'm doing it, man. Like, as much as I love Breece Hall and everything, but the whole census is right. Next year, we're not a team that's potentially going to do anything, and essentially, we could be wasting this guy that could leave us the year after. Why not get something for him? I mean, you could get him something prior to the draft. I mean, if not later on for something else, uh, it's up there
You
in the air, man.
you
So
said a 3 or a 2. We talked about both of those, but let me ask you, what is the least you would say, all right, man?
a 4.
Ooh.
Yeah, I think a 4, man, would be the least that I would do. I know that sounds crazy, but I mean, what are you really gonna get from Breece, dude? I really feel like there's going to be conversations that are going to they're gonna have in regards of players that we hold very dear to ourselves. Because again, I mean, if this team is not a squad that is talking about going far and it's still building, right, retooling, rebuilding, whatever. I mean, is Quinnen on the table? Because I feel like Quinnen is the player that would give me the most return
I,
out of
I, I,
everybody.
and I do think, guys in the chat, if you want to have a conversation about trading Quinnen, you really do need to check out Johnny's show from before. They did a good amount of time on that. And I do think it's a very interesting topic. Not one that's not on my table, but it would take a lot for me to move off Quinnen just because, like, he's the one guy that is irreplaceable, in my opinion. And I know we're paying him a good bit. Um, I wouldn't trade him. I would trade Quincy before him. I would trade Breece. Well, dude, it's well documented how fast I would trade Breece. uh, Mainly because I feel like you either commit to him for the rest of his career right now, or like 5 more years right now, or you just say no. I want to draft a guy and commit to that guy for 4 years. So like, Breece has had every opportunity to scratch his ceiling, and I haven't seen it in a long time. So I don't know about a fourth. At that point, I might just say, let me see what he's like with the new staff for 5 or 6 weeks, and then maybe I can get a third, right? Um, but Murph said a 2. He needs a 2, and he needs a good 2, or a 2 and a 4 or 5. I think he said.
Yeah.
So we're all somewhere in there. 2, 3, 4. Um,
I do want to point out that comment right there, Christopher, was it Byers? Uh, dude, those are some names right there. Like if you get those guys between second and fourth round, you're nailing some picks right there. That's names of guys that I have my eye on. So I'm hoping that Christopher is willing it into existence. I know it's a little off the Breece topic, but I wanted to bring it up while that was on screen.
I
Guy
mean,
knows.
those are good names, and I'm glad you saw that because every one of those names Dom C talked to us about in length. But just think, like, we get a third and a fifth or something for Breece, man. That is a starting guy next to Quinnen for 4 years, and a fifth we could move to next year, turn it into a fourth next year. You know, it's like we need to look at things less like a team and more like we're building for a championship. What like if Breece is here 1 year, that's not going to do us any good at all. Except it's going to hurt our position, you know. And I'm not saying tank. I'm not. But like what he gives us, we can replicate, whether it be with who we have or who we go and get in free agency now or who we draft.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, look, you guys know, man. I love Breece Hall. Like that dude is the first player to sign my oldest jersey. Like, so that guy holds a place super close on my heart, right? And but I can't think like that, right? I have to think more of up here than with this piece of it. And if some team is willing to give up second, third, I'm jumping at it, and I'm doing it because why the hell not, right? Like potentially get another player that could potentially be a starter for us, and especially if it's like a second for a second, that'd be insane. Do I think that's gonna happen? No, it's wishful thinking of me, right? But if it occurs, can you imagine? Like, shit. And the Q conversation, which I don't think it's going to happen, but if there's a player that I think that's out there that could give us the most in our return, would be Quinnen. I mean, would we value somebody right now if, let's just say, Graham is there and that's the guy that ends up replacing him and we get another first rounder and something else for him? Would you do that? Would you take that knowing that there's a potential of us not playoffs next year? There's no Super Bowl next year. And, I mean, this guy has gone on his own social media and has been like, oh, another rebuild year for me. Is that something that Aaron Glenn is looking at and is like, I don't like that crap. So you're already saying that, knowing that I'm here and I'm the coach, and you're putting that out there into the atmosphere. I don't know, but these are questions that I because it could happen. We could
Yeah.
be here draft night talking about breaking news. Quinnen just got traded for insert name of team right here, and everybody's gonna lose their shit. Like, you guys know it. The whole Jets fan base is gonna go nuts.
And I think that we are gonna we need capital, man. It's a new regime. Like they're not tied to these players.
Exactly.
They're gonna evaluate the film, and I think like that leans me to think like who has better film than others, and it's a good question. You said a first round pick offer, maybe in change. Daniel, you haven't chimed in for a minute. What do you think about someone calling and offering a one and change for Quinnen Williams?
I don't love it. I don't love it at all.
You don't love it, but
I don't. Okay, I don't love it, but I can see it happening. If that makes sense.
exactly, it
I'm
does.
I am not happy about it if it does happen. I think Quinnen is an essential piece to our defense. I really do. I think the top two guys is Quinnen and Sauce, and that may even just be team wide, not just the defense. Quinnen, even when he's not making plays, he's making an impact, man. I truly believe that, and I think that he could really be a key cog in an Aaron Glenn defense. Um, yeah, I'm not in love with that idea at all, but I could see it because I've been preaching this for 2 months, 3 months now. When you have a new regime come in, you never know what they're going to do. They will shuffle players in and out. They're not their guys, you know. Um, I just feel like Quinnen's on a level where he's a unshuffleable player, so to
Yeah,
say. You don't see Kevin O'Connell getting fired at the Vikings, some other guy coming in and being like, "Yeah, I'm going to trade Justin Jefferson now." No, no, the fuck they're not.
yeah,
You know what I mean? And I'm not saying Quinnen is the quite at that level what his position as Justin Jefferson is, but I'm just saying like he's a top tier guy. And I think that even when the sack numbers aren't there, it's for defensive tackles, sack numbers aren't everything. He is a disruptor, man. He makes a difference on that defense. So I don't love that idea at all.
Do you think that the Williams brothers are a package deal moving forward?
Yes, I think so. I've said that. I think that if we were to go away from Quincy, I think Quinnen makes some noise about that. You know, I mean, wouldn't you if you had your brother playing with you and you seen your brother flourish in what he's done? And I mean, that's his big brother. That's big bro. Like, I would feel a certain way about it, I think. So I don't know, man. It's just the thing for me that I keep playing on is AG from Jump has constantly said when I was with Parcells said everybody has a price. And that just keeps, and he said it multiple times, not just once. Like it just kept coming up. And he would bring it up. It wouldn't even be a mention in regards to a question that he's being asked. Like again, Murph, it's kind of going piggybacking on what you're saying, man. Like you've been saying it. This is not their guys, and it's the truth. It's not. Anything right now for me is on the table, and I think there's something's gonna happen that we are not going to like at all whatsoever. I'm hoping that it's Zerline, and if they get a replacement for Zerline, and we're happy as shit with that. But I don't know.
Yeti says, John Abraham, I can't keep watching great players slip away. That's all I'll say on it. Good teams have good chemistry. Build a team concept. Can't keep watching my team be a stepping stool. And I get it, man. The only thing that I would say to refute it is like, we do have consensus, like 5 to 10 great players, but like, ask yourself personally, to be honest, like, really ask yourself how many of our 5 to 10 great players hit their ceiling. And I'm not saying it's their fault, but like, those are the guys that we need to, because they thrived through shit. Keep them for sure. And then the other guys that were great but haven't hit their ceiling, will they be better with great coach? Like you really gotta figure this out, because some of them were bad or didn't. Okay, some of the great players did not hit their ceilings because of the coaching staff, but some of them might have just because they're not as great as we think. And I think that it's gonna be hard, man. Like if you're gonna have to weed out a few of them.
Yeah, the whole thing is, and I, Snowball and I have talked about it. In our standard, right? Our standard as Jet fans, we hold these players at such a high pedestal, and we're like, they're the best we ever had. But then when you put them to the best players in the NFL, they're like nowhere near close to any of these guys. But they look so good on a big giant pile of crap, right? So we're just like, oh yeah, this is like the best piece of crap that's been on our crap forever. So
if they were all great, the coaching staff would probably still be here. The GM, we would have won 10 games. Like if Quinnen's great, Sauce is great, Garrett's great, and Breece is great, they're carrying the team.
That's what I mean. Exactly. But it's just such unknowns right now. Like, if we're going to be honest, Breece is, You know, I mean, let's keep it 100, right?
Unless he's watching, then hey, come speak your piece, Breece. The
Yeah,
link's in the
yeah.
chat.
And this is coming from a guy that loves Breece. I love Breece, man. Like I wanted him to work. I wanted the Aaron Rodgers stuff to work, and I hate saying that guy's name right now, but it just doesn't. And why are we going to continue to keep carrying these individuals that potentially are not going to be good with us, right? I don't know, man. I mean, Yeti, I see where Yeti's coming. The reason I'm putting this stuff out there is because I'm saying like there's going to be things that are going to happen with this team, and there are players that I think we're going to lose that a lot of individuals are not going to like. I'm looking at it like, well, which is the player that's going to get me the best for my return, right? And the one person I think of, I don't want it to happen. I don't think it's going to happen, but I could see it happening is Quinnen. And Murph just said it. If somebody comes and says, I'll offer you 2 firsts, you're telling me you're not having that conversation and saying, shit, 2 firsts for Quinnen?
Yeah, that's
Okay,
a different
let's
story. 2 firsts that's a lot of capital right there. But
let him be great. Let him be great somewhere else and all that. And let's build for the real future to keep that sustained winning that our coach is talking about.
And we say, hey, we still need a quarterback above all else, man. Like, if you're giving me 2 firsts, that means one of them is next year. And I can use that to get a quarterback.
Yeah.
What the? Yeah. It's interesting, man, because like the cap's rising too. If we really wanted to, we could just kick the can down the road. I mean, who do we have to decide on right now? Nobody. I mean, even Breece, we can play all year and then sign him before he walks. AVT, same thing. We can sign him before he ever touches free agency. We can literally stay whole, have an excellent draft, excellent scheme install, perform well, and everybody eats. But if some don't eat, their value is probably kaput at that point. So it's like, if you trust in the coaching staff, then don't trade anybody. Just draft well, perform well, and everybody's happy.
I hope and pray, man, that we're here next year talking about, damn, man, we were this close of potentially going into the Super Bowl, and we were just a few pieces away from it when nobody was giving us the chance in hell to do anything. So that's wishful thinking, for myself. That's the green glasses that I wear on a constant, because I mean, I want this team to be competitive. Like right now, I think they have no pressure on them in a sense of, Super Bowl playoffs, Super Bowl playoffs, Super Bowl playoffs that was given to them the last couple of years. We're again going to go into a lot of these games as underdogs, and we excel as underdogs. We have a quarterback that essentially is a journeyman in Justin Fields, and we've had success in the past with journeyman quarterbacks coming on over to us. We just haven't had a quarterback that could essentially use his legs. It's intriguing. There's a lot of guys that we have here that have a lot of upside to them. Nobody's talked about it. Nobody likes it. They're not the sexy pick. If it was up to a lot of the fan base, everybody wanted the kid from Philly to come in here that went to the Patriots. What's his name? Mitchell, was it, I think, or something like that?
Philly
The
to
the
the
DT, the DT.
oh, that one they paid a ton of money to?
Yeah.
Oh no, fuck that.
But that's what I'm saying. Like people, that's what they wanted, right? Instead of us picking up all these other players to fill all these other holes that
True.
could
Oh, I
potentially
see.
be upsides.
Yeah.
They were Milton. There he goes. Yeah, you know,
Um,
I can't. I doesn't make sense to me. You know,
Man, one thing I wish I could do, man, is I wish I could attend training camp because I think that you're gonna have a lot of open competition, a lot guys fighting for jobs. I think even the premium free agents we got outside of Fields, but like Brandon Stevens, Cisco, I think they're all gonna be go get your job, you know. And I wish it was like with Rex Ryan, where we went to Cortland and like stayed together as a group. It was like a summer camp vibe. We don't do that anymore. It's too marketable and shit. But um, I still think that these guys will be bonding, and it would be cool to see. What do you guys think of Fields just being termed QB1? Does A lot of people don't like that. They think that he should have to beat Tyrod in camp to get that spot. But what do you guys make of it? Do you care?
I'm happy that they already came and fucking got it out of the way, and it's not a headache of us going. Now we know who we have as our number one. It is what it is, and we're good to go. Like it's done. We're not gonna have to have the theatrical crap that's gonna happen if who's gonna be QB1. Oh my God, is Fields gonna be Tyrod? Nah, they did what they were supposed to do. They said this is QB1 off the rip, and it is what it is. If Tyrod Taylor, let's just say, beats him out, then there's a bigger problem that we're not talking about right now.
Well, I don't know. The way I look at it is nothing's absolute in the NFL. You can lose your job like that. It doesn't matter. If you're playing like shit, dude, you get benched, the guy behind you comes in and plays well, you done lost your job. Simple as that.
True.
So that means little to nothing to me, you know. Um, the one thing I'll say is like I think the what we should look for and what we should hope for is that we're going to just be like a feisty, annoying team this year, right? Like we're going to be a team that's like nobody thinks is good, but every time somebody plays us, they either have a hell of a time trying to beat us or we end up beating them. Kind of
Oh
like
yeah.
kind of like how the Broncos were last year. Like I'm not saying we'll make the playoffs. I'm just saying like just kind of like a team that just overperforms based on their talent level, right? Um, I think that's what we should be hoping for this year because like that's like the realistic expectations, you know, on the high end at least. I think if Aaron Glenn is what he is about, if he is what he says he's a coach. Like he emphasizes that, man. I'm a coach of these players. Like, well, that's what coaches do. They get the best out of their players. And we may not have a ton of talent on the team, but we do have some talent. And if you get the best out of the talent that we do have and get these floor level players to play to their their ceilings, we could be a feisty 8 or 9 win team, and
500. Yeah.
that's all we can really hope for this year, and which is fine. It's their first year, dude. um you start getting a couple drafts under your belt and stuff and get your guys in there, and that's whenever you look at like, oh, now it's time to compete.
A couple free agencies too. Like
A
people
couple,
don't.
yeah,
We gotta
exactly.
wait for more of a like more diverse crop to hit. Like maybe more people wanted to follow Glenn, but they gotta wait for their deal to expire. Not everybody is available every year. You know.
Yeah. And the Lions didn't, it's not all draft picks. I mean, like Aleem McNeil was not there's guys that they picked up that were very solid contributors, dude. And but you just got to find the right ones.
Let me ask you guys this real quick, and I wanted to bring this up, and Dano, when he was saying the question just before this, it reminded me of it. The right tackle in Okafor, right? I'm kind of high on him when a lot of other people are not, and I think he was with the Patriots, and they were trying to make him play a position that was not his position, but he did really well when he was in Pittsburgh as a RT. If we don't draft an RT, are we confident with him going into the season? Right? I mean, it would be like you trying to wipe your, what are you, righty or lefty, guys?
Righty.
Okay, well,
What?
Murph,
Yeah, what?
Murph, you trying to, Murph,
Damn right.
You trying to, you trying to use your right to
To
clean
wipe.
yourself, right?
Yeah.
And
yeah.
then Dano, you with your left, it'd
I
be
never
weird.
thought of it that way. Actually, I think I do use my offhand, to be honest. But I know what you're saying. I don't know.
But I mean, what's your guys' thoughts in
it's
regards
back
to that?
back to front, right? That's how you do it.
No, side to side. It's like this.
I get what you're saying. Does it like
I do
all
swirl.
I ever you ball it up or do you fold it? That's the real question.
You fold.
I ball it up.
Yeah.
Just go like that.
Um, everybody. I mean, the main all the Okorafor detractors say that he quit on his team. That's the big narrative, is that he quit on the Patriots. So I don't know, man. I don't have that context, but like I treat him like Jordan Travis, man. He's not even there unless he carves something out for himself. I don't know.
Okay.
But you're right. He has like 50 starts or something. So does Josh Myers, the center. I love that, man, because who do we have before? Max Mitchell, Carter Warren, Xavier Newman. Like, they don't have 50 starts combined.
Murph.
Sorry, I was in the middle of getting the old sip on. Yeah, so I mean, having experience in your depth is definitely, you know, that's that's the way to go because I mean, like, of course you want to have guys that are young back there to develop, but like you also want to sprinkle in, like experienced depth because in the offensive line, there's always injuries, dude. There's always injuries amongst the offensive line. So yeah, and then the Aquafor, God, that name is ridiculous. Um,
Chloroform.
as as far as he's concerned, I don't know the story, and I don't think
Did you
any of
say
us really do.
chloroform?
I did.
The chloroform guy. Yeah. Um, he we don't know the story. Like nobody really does, and you see these things happen from time to time. I think it's hard for me to judge and sit here and be like, oh well, he quit on his team and this and that. Dude, we do not know what he was going through. We have to remember that these players have lives outside of the NFL too, and he could have been struggling with some mental health shit. He could have been struggling with some family stuff. He could have, you know what I mean? He might have considered quitting the NFL that season, and then he changed, and then things got better. He changed his mind. Who knows, man?
You're
I
right.
I don't know. You don't know. All we know is that he apparently is back, ready to play, good to go, and has potential to play fairly well. You know?
At a position that he's always played too,
Yeah.
at right
Yeah.
tackle.
So
I
I
don't
can't.
think the regime would have got him if that was the
Well,
case.
you're right, and they didn't take long to get him. Like they kind of went for him, and you're right also in the fact that most of the tackles in the draft are not natural right tackles outside of the Oregon Connerly. Like, so hey, maybe you're right. Maybe it's a diamond in the rough. But the key is like if he quit on his team, no context, no explanation, he's a bum. I don't think Glenn goes and gets him. Daniel, you're right. You know, the context is key. And hey, we know nothing. Like Daniel said, I'm just reiterating, but we know nothing. You got to kind of think that Glenn knows more and Mougey knows more.
Exactly. I mean, Murph, you're saying it. We don't know that, and that's the thing, and that's the issue that I guess again the fan base, and I'm not trying to shit on the fan base because I'm not. It's because we want to know it. Like we want to insert player here, be great here, like off rip. That's what we want. No ifs, buts, asked. You got no questions to ask us in regards to that. But we don't. I mean, my understanding from what I've read was he messed up his leg or something at that point and was being asked to put a position on the leg that was repaired. And supposedly that was one of the reasonings why, because he was getting fucking banged up. So I don't know. Like, that's he said, she said crap that we will never know. I trust I trust with the regime. I think that is something that was talked about, and it was like, yo, Murph, yo, Dayne-O, why did you what is the narrative of this that you quit the Patriots? What happened? And I think he was like, bro, shit was going on. There was a lot. I thought I was going to quit the NFL. And it was been something that I've always played my entire life for. And I just thought I was done. So we don't know.
Yeah. And it's
It
a
is.
Patriot. Fuck him.
Exactly.
It's nice to bring
He
the
might have
floor.
sold Aaron Glenn just on that. He might have been like, Aaron Glenn might have been like, why'd you just, kind of quit out on the Patriots? And he might have been like, it's the Patriots. And Aaron Glenn's like, hired.
Because I was born a Jet, damn it.
That's right.
And Skippy, I would have fucking been, I've been like hired right there.
News of the week. We did pay tender to Xavier Newman. We got him coming back. I know he was, I think, backup center / guard. So like we got like 8-9 guys. We're gonna draft one as well. Johnny, are you team weapon or team? Are you team pass catcher or team blocker or team defender at 7th overall?
Dude, I'm team whatever player we pick does great from the very jump. If it is A, B, or C, man, that's where I'm at right now because again, we are being put in a position that we have not been put in a while that I think we will have success in. My pray is that Abdul Carter, for some insane reason, just continues to keep dropping and is there at 7 for us because I'm running to the podium, running.
Dude, I hope the Giants take Shador and the Patriots, instead of taking Hunter like they should, they take Membu, and the Jags take Graham, and Genty goes to the Raiders, and then we're staring at Travis Hunter. Oof. That would be my dream, and it's feasible if people draft for need and not for talent. But
my dream, since we're going to talk about some unrealistic drops, is actually different from your guys's. My dream is that Cam Ward steals some crab legs from an all-you-can-eat buffet and drops down to 7, and we draft him and sit him for a fucking year, and life is great, baby. Life is great at that point.
Yeah, and we just made Hazel's point so good right now because it's the truth. Holy shit,
dude! Could you imagine? Like, okay, let's flesh this out for a sec. I want to get to Ward. I want to get to Carter. Let's start at Hunter though. If we get a two-way player like that, how are you using him?
I think he takes Steven's spot, right? And Steven has the build to potentially maybe be a safety for us, and they use him in that sense. Because I mean, typically don't corners when they get later on. That's what they transition to is a safety, and maybe use him as a strong safety and keep Cisco as a free because he has the length and the build for it.
But Hunter, you're having straight corner, nothing else.
Dude, I don't know, man. That's a tough one because I know. I don't know, bro. Like
All right.
at that point,
Murph,
it's like it's Tanner. Like, what are you doing? How do you use this guy? Right?
Murph, what are you doing with Travis Hunter on this team?
I'm speaking strictly on our situation. I'm not speaking for every team across the league what they should do. I think that varies actually with Hunter. Um, our situation, wide receiver. Don't worry about anything else. We
Oof.
need a wide receiver too behind Garrett Wilson. You're that guy. He's a talented guy on both sides of the ball. So you're not picking wrong no matter which way you go. We need another wide receiver in the position that we're in right now. If I'm drafting Hunter, dude, that's what I'm drafting him for. But I think there's plenty of teams out there that are set at receiver, might need a corner where they can slot him right in at corner, and that's fine. Some teams have enough uh, talent on both sides of the ball where they draft him and say, hey, you can be our jack of all trades and do what the fuck ever. Like, I mean, I wouldn't suggest him playing both sides, but I don't know. For us, wide receiver.
For me, I struggled because at first I was like full time corner, and then in the fourth quarter I'll make him a wide receiver if we need him. But then I'm like, well, that's too much in the fourth quarter. He can't play the whole fourth quarter. That's dumb. He's going to be exhausted. I think what I would do. I mean, for us, you're right. It would be. I would play him full time one way, and the other way I wouldn't have a whole quarter. I would do third downs. Um, whether that's a full time receiver and he's a third down cornerback, which that can work. Dime packages, nickel packages, you know what I mean? Or the opposite, and I would have him full time DB and a third down wide. I think I like that. Full time DB. He's CB2 next to Sauce, which is, dude, bring it on, man. Sauce and Travis Hunter. And then third down, like we'll run the ball. We are gonna run the ball first and second down a lot. Just on third down, hey, now you got a brand new weapon you haven't seen for 2 downs. I'll throw him out there for that, dude. I would bring it the fuck on. But
To be
good.
clear, I just want to say, just to be clear, if you're giving me like blank slate with Travis Hunter, like I don't even have another player on my team yet, but I like Travis Hunter is the first one, and I'm going to slot him in somewhere. I think that cornerback, having a stud cornerback is much harder to get than a stud receiver. So if you're giving me blank slate, I would put him at corner. But in our position, I think we need a receiver so much more right now.
So would it vary year to year for you? It wouldn't be like
It
you're
could,
deciding forever. Okay,
it could, but man, you could probably really stun his growth if you keep bouncing him around.
fair. Um,
Ugh, that's
Ab,
fucking crazy, man. God, can you
Abdul
imagine that?
Cart, dude, Abdul Carter. I mean, we already got two defensive ends. Is there anything creative you would do? You're just running to the podium, Johnny. You're not even thinking twice. But like, talk to me about what a defensive line with Jermaine and Quinnen and Will McDonald and Abdul Carter and maybe a defensive lineman later in the. What would that look like for you?
It's putting fear in every, just like what Murph said a little bit earlier. We are going to be that pesky team that just is right there biting at your damn heels, man, to just to get you to go ahead and "Wow, they're going down," and expose that neck, and boom, we attack, and we win a game by like 3 points or something to that extent, man. And we get a win when, damn, can you believe these guys do you guys beat this team or beat that team? Like Abdul Carter, man, there, holy crap. Because Jermaine Johnson, he's going to have to get paid at some point, right? So that conversation comes into play. Do you already have that on your team with this guy if he balls out or whatever? Doing something that we've never done before, having a player in a position that is essentially a premier position, as they say, right, already locked down for years to come, and just keep that rotation going.
Dude, I love
God
it.
damn it.
Yeah, then you could do what we had the Genty and Breece debate. We would trade Breece. Then you could trade Jermaine if you wanted. I mean, however it shakes out, but you have options. Daniel, if you want to hit on the opportunity to draft Carter, or you can just skip it and do Ward, or you can do both. It's up to you, man.
The one point I was going to add to what Johnny said, you stole from me, Dan, you prick. So, yeah. Anyway, it gives you options, is what yeah, exactly where I was going to go with that. I'm not saying that I'm pushing for trading away JJ or anything like that, but
Exactly, correct.
it might be the best option to keep three of those dudes, for injuries and rotation purposes. So, that's a question. That's a question that you answer down the line. You just snatch up Abdul Carter and you say, "Fuck yeah, we're gonna have fun on defense this year." Um, that would be that. I mean, fuck yeah, that'd be great. But as far as the Cam Ward thing, I know I've pushed for this a lot, man. That's if there's a quarterback in this draft, that's the guy. I think at this point everybody else has realized that too, and he's probably going number one overall. But if he didn't, and for some reason he fell to us, that's great. But I still think he needs to sit for a season.
Let me ask this real quick before we really get into the Cam Ward conversation. With JJ, could JJ convert into Quincy's position? Would that be a conversation that could potentially occur if we are not going to pay Quincy?
No, no, not full time. I think that he could slot in back there in certain downs, but I don't think full time he should be that.
Okay. So I just was throwing that out there,
He's
not.
he's built to be like a defensive end, man. He's probably got 30, 40 pounds on Quincy.
Oof, you're right. Fucking Modine, bro. That dude.
So, I have a. So I got a tweet from Wild Wave I want to read real fast, but can you buy me a minute and talk Ward?
Oh yeah, man.
What's up with Ward, dude? What are you thinking?
Bro, I've said it. It's Cam Ward and then every other quarterback else. It's literally what it is, if we're going to be 100% honest. And dude, if Cam Ward drops to that, right? Bro, I am thinking that there's every team after 7 calling the Jets like crazy, and it's like, dude, we're giving you this, we're giving you that, we're giving you this, we're giving you that. And I'm like, but I'm talking to my whole crew and like, yo, the future just got landed on us. My question at that point would be, is Cam Ward going to start or is he going to sit and learn for a while to potentially be the future QB for us? I don't know, man. That's a hard one, Murph. Like that shit happens, bro. All of that's gonna come into place.
I know there will be a discussion. It'll be a whole fucking thing. You know how this is. This is New York media, man. We're a bunch of fucking lunatic Jets fans. It'll be all over the place. But for God's sake, will they ever sit a quarterback for a year? Please. Like, that's what my want is. Is that what I think they'll do? No, because we're the fucking Jets and we're idiots and we throw them right into the fire and let them get
Exactly.
completely mentally scarred and they'll never recover from it. So I don't know.
Exactly, Murph. I mean, I feel the same way. I don't get why we don't fucking do that, but it takes a journeyman quarterback to come on over and fucking have our records and shit like that. And I still fucking hate Fitzpatrick because of that shit. Can't stand that fucking guy, dude.
Dude, same. But like we've tried we've tried everything. Listen, we've just tried a first ballot Hall of Fame quarterback. I didn't think we'd even get the chance of trying that. We tried that. It didn't work. What have we not tried? We have not tried drafting a first round quarterback and letting them sit. So yeah, let's do it, man. Wild Wave, shout out you, because this did not cross my radar. I wanna bring it up and see what you and Daniel think of this. This was a tweet this morning, I guess. Yeah, 100,000 views, so it's not nothing. I'll read it real fast. I'm told the Falcons have reached out to the Jets to swap pick 7 and pick 15 as they eye Jalen Walker. Front office wants to make a splash with pass rush and feel that Parsons is no longer attainable. With the Saints and the Panthers both needing pass rush, Falcons want to come up to 7 and take Jalen Walker. If a trade happens, it'll be a draft night trade, and more than likely means we would get an extra first in 2026. It would, I mean, the math on a first now and a first later is probably equal. They might also throw us like something this year, maybe a fourth. I don't know. It could be more. But we're getting at least we're moving back 8 spots, and we're getting the Falcons first next year. What is your first reaction to this, Johnny? And then we'll see what Daniel has to say as well.
Dude, I'm completely taking this. You're telling me I'm gonna get a first next year on top of the first that we already have? Dude, I would take it with the quickness. Moving to 15th. Dude, there's still players out there that we're potentially talking about picking up, right? That'll be at that position for us. Shit, if the Falcons get Jalen Walker at that's gonna shake up the entire fucking draft. That'd be crazy. I'll do it. Murph?
What's the compensation?
So we move back to 15th. They go to 7, and we get a 2026 first as well.
Deal.
Yeah, I'm doing that shit with the quickness.
No brainer, because next year that's the quarterback year. That's what everybody says.
Yep.
If you're not getting fucking Cam Ward, it's pointless. So fucking move back 8 spots, get you a first for next year, and then that way you have the opportunity to move up next year for your guy. So that's a no brainer for me.
Can you imagine, man? That should be. God dang! Shout out to Wow Wave for that one, because that'd be insane. At 15, who do you think we would go then?
Oof, I don't know.
Right?
Be a lot of names off the board. I would at 15, if he's available, I'd probably give him Matthew Golden.
And I think that's where I'm at as well. You know, there's some mocks that are out there that have said that Tet has dropped to around there.
Well, I mean, that's an option too. Yeah, for sure.
But Golden would be the dude. I would, if he were there, I would get him. Damn, can you imagine that?
Yeah, especially when a lot of us have mocked Tet to the Jets at 7. You get
Hmm.
them at 15, then it's like, all right, why not?
Is Mougey at that point anointed the man, the myth, the legend?
I mean, we've already built 3 Joe Douglas statues. We might as well add a Muji one in there too. Don't
Jeez,
lie. We've all said build him a statue at some point.
we have. Hey, I said it earlier tonight. I would have liked to see him with Glenn. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe he was cooked. I know a lot of the fan base thinks he's cooked, but like the reason our cap space looks terrible this year is because he had it set. Like we have the most restructure potential out of our entire roster. Like we can make $100 million right now if we wanted to. Muji hasn't, so our books look cooked. But Joe Douglas would have cooked them already by now a little bit, and we'd have who we want. Um, but I think that he's just savvy on draft day, man. Like, yes, he was sliding a million times last year.
What to say, bro?
We were pissed, but like when you go back and look at the value he got, though, some of it was good, dude. And he got a third this year that paid for like his plan was sound. That's what I can't argue. Um, I would be I'd be semi confident in him having the number 7 pick, but I don't know. Are you guys confident in Muji?
I am. I know there's a lot of people that do not like what he's done so far in his off season, and I have. I don't think he's overspent on a lot of these players. I don't think that he's getting players that are old as shit and they're just getting the bag one last time from us. I really believe that they have a plan in place. Adults are in the building and they're taking control of the team. Dude, the fact that they're firing, which sucks, I at the same time, because I don't want nobody to get fired, but they're firing 170, what was it, people that are working there, and they only had some crazy amount of, like, I think it was like 6 that's in their scouting team, but they got all these other personnel teams that don't do anything. Like, what are we doing within the organization? I don't know if you saw that, Murph, if you know what I'm talking about.
Uh, I don't know that they're firing that many people, but they offered 178 people a buyout.
Like
Um,
severance pays and all that shit, right?
yeah. Now that might still mean like if they don't take it, they'll just get fired. Um, but that doesn't necessarily mean that all 178 are getting fired. It still is an alarming. It's still an alarming thing to see, though. That
It
kind of
is.
that means kind of like reshuffling the deck there.
Well, I mean, would our culture ever reset if we just had the same 250 in the I don't know what positions we're talking about, but I assume
Hmm.
it's like the executives and shit. Well, here's the thing though. You get 18 months salary to walk out the door and go to another team. Johnny, I know you're in finance.
Hmm.
You probably like your job, so you wouldn't take this, but like if you were there for a year or two, if you're new or say you're there 4 years, if they said, "Hey, we're going to give you a year and a half salary. We're going to cut you a check. If you make 50 grand a year, we're going to cut you a check for 75 grand and you'll have a good reference from us. You can go anywhere you want. You got 75 grand in your pocket to go find another job." Just because they want to get new blood in there, not because of you, just to get new blood churning through there. Is that a bad deal for you?
If all my licenses and everything are paid already and I could potentially take that money, go to somewhere else, right, and know that I could essentially do the same thing, but for somewhere else with the quickness.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it makes I'm making the same amount of money, and then potentially making even more money. And that 75,000, I could stash it. It's a no brainer.
So, just to be clear to the chat, like these people aren't getting fired. They're actually, and they're probably making way more than 50 grand.
Correct.
If they make 100 grand, they're getting 150 to walk. And it might have been the only way to get these people out the door. To get, you know what we need? We need young, innovative, fresh minds that don't just do status quo shit. Will it make a difference on the field? I don't know. I want to know how many of the 170 actually take the offer. I hope it's more than 100. Because I do want to see, I want to try everything, man. Like we said, draft a quarterback, let him sit. We haven't tried that. We haven't tried turning over the whole freaking building, man. Let's do it. Let's do it all.
Yeah, I mean, are they going to bring a lot of the new innovating technology that's out there that could essentially show a player if they cut a certain way, or the risk of them getting injured significantly goes down instead of them doing it this way or doing it the way they've been doing like this. Because I mean, we've been injured riddled for so long that we keep asking, why the hell do we continue having these issues? And it's never been fixed. So again, what positions, what personnel, what's going on that they're starting to do this? I mean, again, like I was telling Murph, didn't they have something like insane to where it was only like 6 people on the scouting team, and the rest of the organization of the personnel that they had was like a executive dishwasher guy that was in place that said, hey man, I know a few guys and I talked to him about this. That guy over there plays really good football and let's go get him. That's in the ear of Woody Johnson. So like, what is it?
I know what I know what you're referencing. I know at one point, like most of the people listed on the website were like social media and marketing. It was like
Hmm.
wasn't actually like nuts and bolts positions. I don't know how many scouts and shit like that. I don't know, and I don't have the figures. We need to do like let Glenn and Mougey tear it down to the studs.
Hmm.
Like we want to keep the players, maybe change everything else. Like let's just have no.
I
Yeah,
don't know if new janitors and shit is gonna really change the culture in the building, but okay. I mean, that's the vibe I got from it. There's probably there's some executive assistant to the director of I don't know, toilet cakes or whatever. I don't know, but I don't know that that really makes that big of a difference.
no. Hey, if we can get rid of these damn catchphrases and just go play football, I'd be down. Like the marketing and social media, I think's terrible. Like I don't know. I think some people love it. I think sometimes they're out of touch though.
100%, dude. It pisses me off when we just got blown out in a game and they put out, get this brand new New York hat that they wore on the sideline where they just got blown out by 41 points. Fresh in the Jets market.
What if like the bulk of that 178 or whatever people is the staff that puts together the one Jets Drive films, and they
Well
don't.
then, yeah, don't take the. You know what? Whatever. You don't take the buyout. I don't care. I just hope the ones who do get replaced with cool people.
Oh, oh, now it's okay if they don't take the buyout. Now that they're going to replace your little Jets content that you get to watch every week,
Hey,
I see how it is.
hey, there are teams around the league that make just as good product. Maybe ours win awards, whatever, but we'll still get content.
I mean,
But like, here's how out of touch they are. Like, Breece Hall rumored to be traded all week. Today, they drop bullshit videos. Breece getting drafted on draft night and being at Circa Resort and Casino. Like, we're all chopping up. Do we trade him? Do we not? And they draft some bullshit video from Breece 3 years. Like, they think they're clever, but it's stupid, man. I don't know.
Do you think that they're trying to dispel the rumors by doing that?
Sure. I don't know, man.
Maybe it came from the great Woody.
What they need to do is get rid of the guys in
Great
Woody's
Woody
circle.
put it
Woody's
down
circle.
and said, hey, put something out there and makes it seem like we're not trading Breece.
Well, I think YouTube died, guys. Let's just wrap. Johnny, are we going to hear from you again before the draft, or do we need
Of
your
course,
draft
man.
take? Okay, all right, cool.
Of course, man. You know that, bro. Come on here, man. If you're doing a thing, you know I'm probably gonna come up here and show love, man. I mean, dude, I was there when Isaiah Garendo, bow, out of nowhere. I was there, man.
Bro,
What is JD doing? Like what? I was there.
you were there. You were there. You were there more than anyone, man.
Yeah, I was there the whole time, man.
And I appreciated it. Dude, day 3 was a grind. Every time we thought we were picking, it lasted another hour. It sucked, man. It sucked.
And Scott flipping out constantly with every single pick, dude. It was the highlight of the show in the later days, man. It was great.
I'm going to have to cut up some of that shit and just have on standby because those are long streams. If you're still in the chat, man, tune in, especially day 2 and day 3 because everybody streams day 1 and there's premium content. But day 2 and as the draft wears on, it gets to be a grind. So pop in and show some love. We'll have some clips ready for you from last year.
Friday for day 2. Rounds 2 and 3, and I wanted to give you a heads up on this too, Johnny. I was planning on texting you, but I'll just tell you right now. We are planning, and it doesn't mean that I know you and Snowball do your thing. We are planning on starting at 7 that day. You're totally not a big deal if you guys start at normal time, or if you start at 7 as well. No big deal. I just wanted to let you know that we are going to start early that day, just so we're there for the draft. You know what I mean? Like we want.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Maybe we could collab to something. We'll talk with Snowball. That'd be kind of cool thing to do. You know,
conversation I hear.
I mean, you know,
Facts.
talk to Dayno.
Is Jets Worldwide doing round 1 as well? I know it's tough, dude. It's tough.
I'm pretty
going. Everybody's going.
I think Snowball is going to actually be at the event, if I'm not mistaken. So. I mean, I'm heading to New York this upcoming week, actually. So,
all I'm saying is you have a chair here anytime you want it during the draft.
That,
okay.
Man.
Yeah.
I love your guys' content. You guys know that. I text Murph all the time in regards of him falling asleep, like right now.
you know, once he starts leaning back and he hardly ever comes forward, that you're about to lose. Either that or he's going to fall back in the chair.
This guy, he acts like he's done a show with me for a year now or something.
Hey, 25,000 views, man. I didn't think we'd ever hit it. I never cared, actually, but the fact that we hit it's pretty cool. 25K, man.
That's
cheers
awesome. Congrats, man.
You both have been on a
cheers,
million
man.
times, so cheers. Yeah, for sure. Chat, if you're still here, I know there's only a few of you left on YouTube. If you're here, hit the like button, hit subscribe. We're here every Friday night. We get a little detoured as the stream wears on, but Johnny, plug your show. We just talked about it, but actually give them the handle and stuff, and tell us what you got going on next week.
Yeah, so Jets Worldwide every Friday at 7:30. We typically get on now. Still, once the season comes back, we're going to do Sundays again as well to bring back the match game, the Wheel of Misfortune, and some other new games that we're going to get ready to put out there. But this upcoming Friday, we're not going to have a show. because I'm actually going to be up in New York, visiting family, doing things like that, et cetera, et cetera. So we're looking forward towards that. But I think, you know what? Actually, on the 18th, which is the night that you guys are doing your guys' stuff, we're actually having Dylan. When is the draft, by the way?
24th, 5th, 6th.
Okay, so then no. So then the 18th, we're having a guest. We're having this kid, Dylan. He's a really good, like he knows the draft really well and all that.
Dylan
He's been on
Terraman.
Dylan Terraman, yep. So he's actually going to
Gotcha.
come on the show, and we're really looking forward to kind of digging deep with him, knowing a little bit more right prior to the actual draft itself. So we're looking forward towards that. But Jets Worldwide, one word, wide, wide, wide. 7:30 Fridays typically, and it's we're here. I mean, I appreciate you guys. We got to get you guys back on the show again. That's what we need to do. We need to get you guys.
I've never been, man.
So you've been a contestant on there.
That's a
Oh
lie.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I was a star. A star.
Yeah. You were on before, so now we got to
got
get
you,
both of you guys. We got to get you guys on, so we could go ahead and talk a little bit, right? And then maybe it'll be a little pre to your guys' show. I don't know.
Hell yeah, I like it. I like it.
Hey.
Just not the
Yeah,
18th. The 18th we have Snowball, like you said, after Terraman. He must be coming here.
Yep.
So any other time, man, hit us up.
Yeah, definitely. You know what? Maybe we could do a post draft, like after it's all done, like the week after, and we were like, where do we go from now? Right?
Yeah.
Is Cam Ward QB1, or is he gonna sit back for a little bit? I'm just kidding, Murph. Look at Murph gonna go happy.
You get me a little excited every time.
Hey, that's what I'm trying to do, man.
You're gonna give him a Wardy.
Post, yeah. Woody Johnson. The Friday after the draft, though, Dane, don't we have a guest? I don't know if you wanted to bring that.
Yeah, it's about a month from now. We'll have Green Bean on, but
Nice.
But yeah, after that, I think Talking Jets goes away. So most of May, though, Worldwide and Danger Zone will be cooking in May and June. So hit us up, man. Yeah, dude. Like you guys said earlier, it's amazing having an actual beat reporter on our humble channel. Like off season has been lit for both of us, man. I'm
Agreed.
glad a lot of these big guests are willing to come to both spots, man. It's pretty cool. It is.
Yeah, and he was such a cool dude. Like the fact that how he first started, I would have never thought it was baseball on how he first started and everything like that, which was really intriguing. Started with the Boston Globe, being from Carolina, then from there moving and then going to Miami and down in South Florida, the whole nine, which was pretty intriguing as well. And he made the most, like, he's like, yeah, I was a walk-on, for the golf team at East Carolina, as if I don't know that team, that club that plays in East Carolina, it's a really good golfing program over there. I was like, wait, what? So it was a trip, man, but it was cool. But hey, man, yeah, y'all boys always keep doing great content, man. I appreciate you guys. Hey, Dayne-O, let's go Mets, baby.
Let's
Meat
go,
Pete is
man.
back, baby.
The bats have awakened. Let's go, man.
Murph, who are you a Mets fan yet?
He will be.
We need to convert him, man.
I don't know if I have a team. Pirates, I guess. I don't know.
Oh, nah, dude.
And you're not going to love this, Johnny, but every time I can tell my son when we stop by the hat store, I'm like, hey, you want to buy a new hat, buddy? He'll be like, yeah. And he goes in there. You know what he walks up to?
Don't tell the Braves.
The goddamn Yankees every time.
Paul, hey, he's seen Paul Skeens live though as a kid. I can't blame
He
him,
has
man.
seen Paul Skeens live, so he does have a Pirates hat too. So I don't know. I'm gonna let him do his own thing, whatever he wants to do. But I don't.
Hey, show him Mr. Met. After he sees Mr. Met, he'll be like, okay.
The only thing I'm putting him towards is the Jets, and that's it.
Don't show him Paul Don't show him Paul Skeen's girlfriend or he's cooked.
We're all cooked then.
Yeah, I
All
appreciate
right,
you,
good
boys.
night.
You guys be good,
Hey,
man. You guys have a good night.
Everybody, good night. Later.
I love the show. I love you guys. Fucking, let's go Jets. Jets, Jets.
We can't all be beautiful.
You're in the danger zone.